For 18 years, we've been coming here to the hallowed grounds known as the Big Buck GNCC in beautiful Union, South Carolina. And today we are greeted with probably the best weather we have seen so far in 2014. Hello, everyone. Welcome to GNCC Live on RacerTV.com. I'm Rodney Tomlin along with Jen Kenyon, and also Fred Andrews will be along in just a little bit. And also Lauren Cavanaugh, who's here with us. She is a Miss America pageant this year in 2014. She's also known as Miss Boiling Springs and a big part of South Carolina. And I know, Lauren, that the Big Buck really seems to be a big thing for around this area.
It absolutely is. It's something that Union County really looks forward to every year. It brings in a lot of people to this area. It's just really exciting. And it's actually my first time at a Big Buck racing event, so I was really excited to be able to come out here and be a part of it and see what all the hoopla is about and why everyone's so excited.
Well, I'll tell you what all the hoopla is about. It's about great racing that's getting ready to get underway here in just a couple of moments. Let's check in with Jen Kenyon as she sets the stage for today's race.
That's right, Rodney. This place truly is special for GNCC racing. But I think what the most special part about this round 4 is Chris Borich. We saw him win his 69th career victory in GNCC racing last round. He broke the record. He is now the all-time winningest racer in GNCC. But what's also really, really important to note is that Chris has won 6 of the last 7 years here at the Big Buck. Now, we all knew Chris was a veteran in this sport, but man, 6 of 7, that's pretty special. Adam McGill won this race in 2008, but other than that, it's been all about Chris Borich. So I know here today, he's pumped up. He really wants to do well. He knows he can do well here. But those guys behind him, we say it every week, they're right there. Walker Fowler's in the number 2 position. He kind of had a little bit of bad luck last round. Didn't finish where he quite wanted to, but he's still there. We've got Jared McClure, who's actually tied for points with Walker in 2nd place, which is huge for him. Jared's never been that far up in the overall point system, so I know he's pumped heading into today. And then we have guys like Chris Bithell, Adam McGill, Kevin Yoho, all those guys, they're all gunning for that win. And it's going to be really interesting to see how that pans out. We know that there's a lot of talent here in the XC1 Pro class, so let's head on over to Rodney Tomlin and we'll get the lineup for today's race.
And good afternoon and welcome to GNCC. Welcome number 4. Action, of course. We have got 16 of the world's top ATV pros ready to strike here on this what we know as the Big Buck GNCC. 18 years running, and the last 7 have been dominated by one. We know that is 6 of the last 7 years won by the number 1 and current defending champion. As we get set to roll into today's racing action, rolling to the line first. He rides aboard the number 1. It is a Suzuki. He is backed by Maxis. All time, Chris Borich. Rolling to the line today, 2nd in points. He's tied right now, according to GNCC points, aboard the number 2 from Rogers, Ohio, to AmFab, AmPro, Yamaha, Maxis, Moto Experts, Lone Star, Fly, and Hill International Trucks. Walker Fowler. Today in points, coming off of his first podium of 2014, riding aboard the number 10. He hails out of Casca, Pennsylvania, the DWT Racing Jared McClure Racing Machine. Jared McClure. Rolling to the line next, aboard the number 5. He hails from RacingPowersports.com, CST, PirateMX.com, Lone Star Racing, Custom Access Back, Honda, Adam McGill. Rolling to the line today, 4th in points.
Aboard the number 4 out of Irwin, Pennsylvania. On a Precision Maxxis Tires back Suzuki, Chris Bithell. All right. He was 5th place in points and 6th place in points now. He rides aboard the number 6 from Marietta, Ohio on a DeRisi Racing, Moose Racing, Maxxis Tire Balls backed Honda, Braden Henthorn. Rolling to the line next, celebrating his 20th season here in 2014 along the Pro Row XC1. And 30 decades he has been here on the 2014 Championship Tour. Of course, we're talking about none other than the number 7, hailing from Aurora, Ohio, backed by Yamaha, GBC, and HMF, Johnny Gallagher. Rolling to the line next, aboard the number 11, the rookie that skipped the XC2 Pro-Am class from Mount Pleasant, Pennsylvania, on a Waynesburg Yamaha, backed by GBC, Fly, and FMF, Jay Shadron. Rolling to the line next, aboard the number 9, last year's Pro-Am XC2 champion out of Bidwell, Ohio, on a Dirtworks DC Cycles backed Honda, Bryson Neal. Rolling to the line next, aboard the number 5, aboard his trusty steed he calls Yoshi, from, of course, Hopedale, Ohio, on a BNR Motorsports Loctite backed Yamaha, Kevin Yoho. Rolling to the line next, aboard the number 8 from Shamoka, Pennsylvania, on a Waynesburg Yamaha, backed by GT Thunder and GBC, Jeff Pickens. Aboard the 149 from Montrose, West Virginia, riding aboard the Honda, Brent Sternivon. Next up, riding aboard the number 16 from Manchester, Maryland, on a Maxxis DP ATV Innovations back Suzuki, Landon Wolf. Rolling to the line next, the rider aboard the number 413 from Morgantown, West Virginia, on an Outlaw Motorsports Golden Racing VGR backed Honda, Stephen Golden. Rolling to the line aboard the number 20 today from Akron, Ohio, on a GT Thunder Maxxis Hauser Racing Fly Racing backed Yamaha, Josh Merritt. And last and certainly not least, he rides aboard the number 426 from Monterey, Tennessee, on board the Yamaha, Errol Bright. That, ladies and gentlemen, your starting lineup for this, the VP Fuels Big Buck GNCC. And as we get set to roll into today's racing action, folks, one more time, fire those babies up, and let's get the blood pumping as we get set to go GNCC racing. And last and certainly not least, it looks like we got a late entry in the XC1 Pro class, the 341 of Medina, Ohio's Brian Wolf. And Brian Wolf makes his way onto the start line now as we get set to go the XC1 Pro class there on row number 1. Row number 2, obviously the XC2 Pro, and we've got whole shot awards coming up, $250 in our whole shot award for the XC1 Pro class, and then of course $100 we say thanks to DeRisi Racing, Twin Air, and All Balls Racing for the great whole shot awards that are going to be collected today by some of our, well, a couple of our top starters here in the GNCC Racing Nation. As we turn our attention up to Ricky Towery in turn number 1, the stage is set. Chris Borch has all the pressure off his shoulders except for one thing. Now he's starting to look at a record that could possibly be here at the Big Buck GNCC. Can he be the man at the Big Buck? Make it 7 out of 8 last years of taking wins. Well, we'll find out here in about 2 hours and 1 minute, as we are 1 minute away from getting GNCC racing underway here in Union County and this Big Buck GNCC. All attention turns to Rick Towery up in turn 1, our maestro, the conductor of ceremonies, the man that makes it all happen from here on out. Every move that takes place from this point on is under his guidance and direction as Ricky Towery gets set to wave that blue flag. Shut him down, guys. Shut him down, shut him down, shut him down. We are less than 30 seconds away from this big buck GNCC. And I got to ask you, South Carolina race fans, are you ready to go GNCC racing? Come on, South Carolina. How about this? How about it? Union County GNCC fans, are you ready to go GNCC racing? 10 seconds. And row number 1, the XC1 Pro, will be off and rolling at our VP Fuels Big Buck GNCC. And into the first turn we roll. $100, $250 up for grabs, and Chris Borch nails it. Walker Fowler in second. It's the number 11 of Jay Shadron, the rookie, opening up in the number 3 spot as they round the second turn. No changes in the front. 3 riders, but they're starting to jockey there on back. XC2 Pro-Am class coming up next, and our guest starter here with us today once again from Brewster's Ice Cream, Melissa Compton. We got Cole Richardson, Fred Marley, Randy Hamilton, Blake Kramer, James Green, Lordy Living Good, also Jonathan Fugate, and Tommy Kuntz, Ryland Johnson, as well as Brad Amon, Martin Christopherson, and more in
10 seconds.
Luke Shepard, Steve Michael, and Marshall Goings ready to go. Our guest starter, thank you very much, Melissa. We'll let you do her one more time. But right now, whole shot award up for grabs, and it's the 17 machine. That's Fred Marley out of Osgood, Indiana. Marley's grabbing a bunch of those whole shots, but it looks like already Marley in trouble as we've got a new leader, and we look to the row 3 next, the Junior A 22+ class. Wes Kinsley, Michael Marley, Nathan Hornacek, Michael McAvoy, Chuck Norris, Robbie Pecoroni, also Matthew Lamberti, Austin Clarks, Kevin Patterson, Adam Upal, Cole Williamson, Aaron Prigden, Matthew King, Jordan Dodson, Ben Bruce, and Doug Harden in
10 seconds.
The Junior A 22+ class. And they're off. Good job. Nice job. So Miss Melissa Compton with the 10-second call once again, and we got the 91 machine, or 41 I would say, that would be Michael McAvoy, Junior A 22+ class early leader. The Vet A 28+ class. Coming up next, riders like Todd Demery, the 42-year-old Todd Demery, 28+ class. We've got Nick Carnhill, also Wesley Stone, Richie Brown, Bill Marstiller, John Cunningham, Tom Jansky, Bobby Clark, Walter Shoemaker, Mike Daughtery, Mike Mittendorf, and Matt Pierce. We're ready to roll in 10 seconds for the Vet A 28+. Wow. Trying, I think that might have been Matt Pierce. Wow, that kid's on a rocket right now. And that's exactly who that is, a 939 out of Corning, Ohio. Great jump off the line there. It's college age 16 to 21-year-olds getting set to roll next. Kevin McCohen, Blake Thomas, Levi Cohen, Clint Graff, Billy Hartman, Cole Shiflett, also Bryson Hobbs, Derek Pitzer, Cody Howell, Travis Groves, Logan Wagaman, Doug Howard, Michael Frederick, Justin Hess, Cameron Bruce, Kristen Meyer, Taylor Arnold, Brett Cover, Jaron Cochran, Greg Coburg, Steve Coburg, Dwight Pollard, and more in 10 seconds. Bo Cagle, Kenny Schick, Anthony Herring, Mitch Miller, and Brent Henke. 3:48, Derek Pitzer out of Farmville, Pennsylvania, Buchanan Racing, Moto Was, Leat, JB Racing, Fast Company. Oh! He's going to have the early lead stolen away by that Yamaha pilot. Missed the number on that one. That's how fast they are, folks. Senior AB, 38+, coming up next. We got John Glotta, We got Aaron Delancey, Leroy Shook, Jeffrey Flint, Wayne Brown, Brian Schramps, Lane Coyle, Jim Sabella, Rusty Repass, and Arthur Blystone with the blue flags are waving and the dust starting to roll. A welcome sight and welcome change for the GNCC Racing Nation as we watch Ricky Towery up in turn 1. He says, 10 seconds. Senior AB 38 plus. Uh-oh, early leader missed a gear, it looks like. Junior B 22 plus class, Justin Paul, Jesse Kelly, Joey Allen, Alan Blavo, Simon Bissell, Brent Ertl, and Brian Toney. As we turn our attention up to Rick Towery for this Junior B 22 plus class, ready to roll in 10 seconds. Green flag up, kick starts down, or should I say push button starts are in. Whatever the case may be, the race is on, and wow, is that 599 possibly out front? Yeah, it is. That is Brent Ertl out of Osgood, Indiana, snagging the early lead in this one. As we move to the Bet B30 plus class, the Marlboro man, Tom Muscala from Uniontown, PA. Super Trap, Michael Trap out here with us from Quad Zone, also Sam Lamp, Joe Kreslitz, also Mike Shelley, Jeremy Gouchard, Cliff Val, Adam Brockway, and more in 10 seconds. Kevin Wright, Mark Batson, Daniel Webb, Stephen Barber, Ben McKay, and Philip Thayer. Mercy. Back up on his feet, putting that quad back on its 4 wheels. That guy right there is ready to go. GNCC Racing. As we go next to the College B 16 to 21 class, Tyler McDaniel, Cole Smith, Spencer Modlin, Michael Spalding, Matt Thomas, Tyler Creel, Eric Holland, Derek Sticklers, Dakota Pritt, Scott Black, JD Brown, Brad Pearson, Brandon Eichert, Tyler Bowman, Corey Kozlowski, Braden Schick, Cameron Yoakley, Dustin Burkhammer, Corey Silverthorne, Noah Landis, Roger Norman, Anthony Barnes, Hunter Grimes, Trevor Ray, Ryan Henderson, Kirkland Vest, and Jeremy Hill. 10 seconds for the College B, 16 to 21. And is that the 88? Quite possibly. See if we can get a number on that. How about the 116 now? And the 316. The 116, Spencer Modler. The 316, Eric Hollifield out of Bakersfield, North Carolina. And a quick check of the start line. Looks like we've got a clear start. Folks, again, be careful. Have fun out there on the racetrack and enjoy yourself here at this 18th running of this BP Fuels Big Buck GNCC. And we'll be back with more of the live coverage from right here in Union, South Carolina on RacerTV.com when GNCC Live continues right after this.
Twins have notoriously been very hard on crankshafts because that big long stroke of the 2 cylinders just flexes the crankshaft around. So we were seeing bearing issues. Research development people at AMSOIL could show us that it was likely an oil problem. And they were correct. That was the issue. Instead of having to redesign the engine, I just had to do a better quality oil.
Sometimes you come across something so different, you just have to stop and check it out. The Rocky Mountain ATV MC website has everything you need, from our huge selection of tires, ATV and UTV accessories, and OEM parts, to our online chat, customer reviews, and instructional videos. Our extensive inventory means most orders arrive in 3 days or less. Get low prices, quick shipping, and incredible customer service. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
Find your flow with Maxxis tires.
Evans waterless coolant solves your overheating problems. The high boiling point of 375 degrees and low vapor pressure means the coolant stays in the engine and cooling your machine. Randy Hawkins of the Ampro Yamaha team has been using it for 5 years. In fact, you'll find Evans in the radiators of most top GNCC machines. Go to evanscooling.com for more or visit their Facebook page for the latest updates.
Series presented by Maxxis. Tim Cotter in the booth now, waiting on Rodney Tomlin, along with Fred Andrews is with us today. Good afternoon, Fred.
Hi, Tim. Nice to be here on a beautiful day here in South Carolina. We've been having all those mud races. It's really nice to have a nice dry one.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. It is very nice finally to come to perfect weather, and we have perfect weather here today. For those of you that are just logging on at RacerTV.com, we welcome you in. We are in central South Carolina, somewhere between Columbia, Spartansburg, and Charlotte, in that area of the country. This part of the country has quite a bit of terrain difference here. It is not extreme terrain like we saw 2 weeks ago in Morganton, North Carolina, but there is quite a bit of terrain change.
Yeah, you know, Tim, there's nice out there. There's a few creek jumps, and there's some big grass fields we get to ride in, and they got some real nice, tight pine forests to go through, and this track really adds a lot to it.
Yeah, the riders looking forward to this race. Finally, we got one again. The mud is so challenging on the rider and the race equipment, and we finally got ourselves a great weekend. Big crowd here today as well. As always, they support off-road racing here in South Carolina. Bjorn Hamrick, one of our trail folks here this weekend, is actually back out on the trail and working with the GNCC team. Is always good to have Bjorn Hamrick back, but it's significant because Bjorn has a series down here in the Carolinas and does quite well and continues to keep off-road motorcycling healthy so that when we do come to town, there's a nice nucleus of riders.
Yeah, and I think Bjorn's actually the one that brought us here in the first place, and Bjorn has a good series going on himself, and there's a lot of good riders in this area, and it's nice to keep it going. And I believe the landowner, Henry Turner, I believe that today's his birthday, today or tomorrow, I think.
Well, I did not know that, but happy birthday to Henry.
Yeah, I think he turned 71. That's awesome.
Well, you know, Henry, he certainly doesn't look 71. He loves this facility. He works all year long on this event. And Henry is a great partner for GNCC Racing, and you are correct. Bjorn Hamrick was racing here and went to Big Dave Coombs and said, hey, I think I got a great place for GNCC, and it has been a great home. 18 years running here at Racer or GNCC from the Big Buck. And they call it the Big Buck because the size of the deer. Fred, you're a deer hunter.
Yes, sir. Actually, I was lucky enough that Henry and Hank invited me down here to go deer hunting, and I did shoot a nice big buck here, and it lives up to his name. There's a lot of deer here, and it's good conditions down here. The trees are good for them to hide in, and I need to come back.
Well, I think we took your big buck, and we've turned it into our trophy, and that is the trophy for the weekend, the Big Buck. So as we move into today's event, we see that the crowd is coming around. And here in just a few moments, we're going to hear from Barry Hawk, who is going to tell us about the track today. Barry Hawk.
Hello, everyone. We've got a 12.8 mile track, nearly 13 miles laid out here in South Carolina. We got here on Monday, and it rained on us all day on Monday, and we got nearly 2 inches of rain. So I got a little concerned that we were going to have another mudder. But ever since Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the rest of the week has been beautiful. So everybody's going to, they're not going to get a mutter this week. It's going to be, should be a perfect weekend for racing. Nice sunny skies. So, with the nearly 13-mile track laid out here, we got the famous hill climb, creek crossing. That as soon as you exit the creek crossing, you go up the hill. That's at the 3.5 mile marker. From there, they're going to head out towards the 4 mile marker, and then the 5 mile. Once they get to the 6 mile marker, that's where we got another hill climb at that point. It's not nearly as big as the 3.5 hill climb, but should be really interesting there. A lot of lines up that hill. From there, it's going to head out towards the 7 to the 8 mile marker. At the 9 mile marker, we have another small creek crossing hill climb. I think that shouldn't get too bad for the guys, but once they get past there, they're going to go into the pro pits. And then after the pro pits, that's where I think things could get interesting. From the 11 to the 12, and from the 12 into the finish, that's where I think the best part of the track is going to be for the guys. We've done a lot of work in there, cutting new trail in there. A lot of valleys, ups, downs, a little bit of slow stuff, a little bit of fast stuff. So there's a good mix in there. And all in all, we put a lot of work into the track. And like I said earlier, I'm finally glad to get a good weekend under our belt. And hopefully everybody leaves here with a smile on their face. Back down to you, Jen.
Like a real pro today. Good coming in. Line. So we got some stuff coming at you here in just a few moments, Fred, and what we've got also is our riders out on the racetrack, and we're looking for this first lap to be wrapped up. Chris Borich did something that he's only done one other time this season, and that was actually grab the hole shot, something he normally likes to let other people lead, and I can almost guarantee you by the time they got to the woods or not far in it, Chris said, let somebody go by, and that could have been maybe even the young Jay Shadron, who was back in the number 3 spot, which is also a good start for that youngster. Again, if you don't know about Jay, he was one of the top 3 finishers in the college age 16 to 21-year-old class last year. Actually won a couple of overall amateur races, and instead of going to the XC2 Pro-Am class, he jumped right into the XC1 Pros. And, he's done fairly well so far since the start of the season. Looking at the overall standing, it's not too bad. He's cutting his teeth, but, what can you expect for a young rookie like that,
That's a big decision that he made, to jump right in there and get right up in with the XC1 guys, and like you said, Chris probably did let somebody by in the woods. Chris likes to follow and let everybody kind of set their pace, and he just kind of lays back and waits for everything to happen.
Yeah, he kind of likes to borch the mare on that last lap. That's what we've decided to call that term. That's what it's been coined anyway over the last few years. And I'll tell you, not only borch is a good thing that you probably want to learn if you're a GNCC racing fan, but there might be a few other things. And we put this together for the novice GNCC race fan. It's called ATV 101.
GNCC Racing is a cross-country style motorsport race featuring either ATVs or motorcycles. Depending on the event schedule, 6 to 7 races featuring riders as young as 4 and as old as 60 plus will race at any given event. GNCC racers come from all 50 states as well as numerous countries all around the world. The race starts as a dead engine start, with each rider lined up on the row of his or her class. Each row starts on the wave of the official green flag and the race is on. Race arrow signs designate the race course, and with some exceptions, riders must stay within 25 feet of the race arrows. Riders do not get to practice or pre-run the track, but are allowed to walk the track during designated times prior to race day. A GNCC racetrack may include trails, footpaths, roads, hills, motocross tracks, and any terrain navigable by a bike or ATV. A course is typically between 9 to 12 miles long for the afternoon race, but shorter for the youth and amateur races. XC1 or Pro level racers will have a red number plate with white numbers on their machine, and XC2 or Pro Lights riders will have green number plates with white letters. The point leader in each class will have their number plate colors reversed. Flags. The green flag signals the start of the race. The yellow flag signals caution. The 2-lap board signals 2 laps remaining, and the white flag signals 1 lap remaining. The checkered flag signals the race is over. Riders are scored when they cross the finish line by a transponder mounted on their bike, and overall position and time are adjusted according to the row in which a racer started on. Once the race is over, the top 3 finishers in both pro classes are interviewed on the Maxxis Victory Lane podium, and top riders in every class are awarded trophies. If you would like to learn more about how you can go GNCC Racing, check out the series website at gnccracing.com or follow them on your favorite social media sites.
All right, and welcome back to GNCC Live here on RacerTV.com. Rodney Tomlin along with former GNCC champ Fred Andrews on the motorcycle side of things. We're talking ATV racing today, Fred, and right now we are about we'll call it 20 minutes now into this race. We're seeing some action from out in the woods right now, and I haven't watched a lot of the footage coming, but I believe that, Borch is still one of the top runners out there. It's just a matter of getting them all sorted out from this point on, and seeing these guys make their way to the end of the first lap. I know in listening to Barry Hawk's course description, we're looking at a track 11 to 12 miles in length, if memory serves me correct, and we average about 3 minutes a mile, but sometimes, especially in conditions like what we've got here today in some of the more open sections, it can actually be a little less than 3 minutes a mile, so maybe 2.5 or so. So we could be expecting to see these riders in within the next 5 to 10 minutes to finish up with lap number 1 complete. And Fred, I know coming into today's race, the perfect weather conditions, and we haven't seen so much of that so far this year. I mean, this is a whole new ball game almost for these guys. Now, the ATV guys did get a race on a beautiful day on Saturday in Georgia, but man, I mean, for the rest of the GNCC Nation, this is going to be something new for them here in 2014.
Yeah, it's nice to see the track is in good conditions, 'cause I think we're all tired of riding in the mud. Cleaning our bikes on Monday and the four-wheelers just takes you forever. With the conditions like today, everybody's going to be excited to be out there. We're going to find out, who can ride the hard dirt better and the tight woods. They got some nice tight pines out there, like I talked a little earlier, and it's going to be a lot of fun for everybody today compared to the last, getting all the mud all over you and getting them in your eyes. A lot of people don't like that, but today is going to be a nice, fun day. Look at the track. The track's going to have hard, slippery spots in it from the quads, and that's something the bikes are going to have to deal with tomorrow, which, the last couple of weeks we haven't had to worry about that. It's been more ruts than it is hard ground.
Right, and another thing that these guys are probably going to have to deal with more of today than they have, especially more times they go over this thing and dry it out, if it happens to have a little moisture in it, is dust. That's going to be something, especially for these ATV riders, that could become an issue, I think, in some of the open fields toward the end of the race out there. But, I think these guys are well aware of this coming into this, so they're probably prepared, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think the woods are going to be perfect. It doesn't look like it could get much better in the woods. The open fields are going to be a little dusty, Rodney, but, that's part of it. The four-wheelers are going to kind of push it out to the outside, and the ground's only going to get so hard, and unless you get out there in that deep stuff, you're not going to have a whole bunch of dust.
Nice little uphill section, this Can-Am section. That's one thing I can say about the GNCC Live for those of you watching. Sometimes I don't think the camera angle actually gives or does it justice, to be honest with you, how steep those can be sometimes with the hill climbs and so forth. But nonetheless, that's more than a flat ground area, I think, that's coming at us right there.
Yeah, Rodney, for sure. When we show you the uphills and the creek jumps, and on TV, it just looks like nothing. It's kind of like sitting in a football stadium and watching them play football. The field just looks so little till you get down there. It's huge.
Yeah, and then whenever you see one that looks big on TV, know that it is really super big whenever it looks big on TV. That's for sure. But right now we are 23 minutes into this first lap of racing right now, and the key players in this one again, Chris Borch, everybody watching for him. The last rider to win here in the last 7 years, besides Chris Borch, was Adam McGill. He did that whenever he was racing the KTM, back whenever KTM had their ATVs out on the market, and he was a factory rider. So it's been quite some time, 6 years, I think, since that actually took place. So I'm sure that there's a lot of folks out there itching to win here. And Fred, I know it seems like Chris really seems to dominate on the ATV side of things, but the motorcycle side of things seems to be a little bit different. We always seem to get a different winner here, and you've had your successes here in the past, haven't you?
Yeah, Rodney, as a matter of fact, this is the last place I won at GNCC overall in the XC1 class, so it's got a lot of special meaning to me, this place. Like I said earlier, I came here deer hunting with the Turners. They invited me down, so I've shot some deer here, and it's a really good track, and I won here, so it's always going to be my favorite track.
Now, my question, you say you shot some deer here. Is it true? Is this the home of the big buck?
Yes, sir. I shot a really nice dandy buck down here one year, and I haven't been down since, so not because they haven't invited me, it's just my schedule has been so busy. But no, it's the big buck for a reason, and it's a good one.
It is. I love this area, and like I was telling Henry and everybody before the race, this particular venue, for whatever reason, I don't know what it is, because you look at it, it's nothing really special. It's a nice, beautiful piece of property out in South Carolina. Lots of pine trees, open fields, some hardwood trees here and there. But there's just something about this particular venue. I don't know if it's Union County itself, but this is my favorite stop on the tour. It might be the time of the year, man, the springtime, most beautiful time, but we are offered up some great racing opportunities in the process, too, as we see our leaders going through the pro pits. I missed the actual race leaders, but, man, look, they're all spread out a couple of seconds, 3 seconds or so apart, and then we got a big gap starting to open up back there, and that was Bithell, I think, going through there on that number 4 machine. We've seen him waving off the pits or telling them something there. I don't know what he was trying to tell them, but anyway, Bithell looks like he might be a little behind the 8 ball on this one to kick things off. Should be seeing some XC2 Pro-Am riders come in this way pretty soon, Fred. And right now, that should be the end of the tail of the pack of the 16 XC1 Pro riders. And green number plates should start appearing here pretty soon as we take a look at that shot out of our MidstateChevy.com truck. Man, I tell you, that's a nice truck, and it's a good folks down there. Stacking them deep and selling them cheap. And right here we got it stacked deep. That's the competition coming down the pro row for us. Now 25, almost 26 minutes into this one, and I kind of, I'm looking at maybe, I was thinking 28 to 29 minutes, but we might be a little sooner than that.
So we're looking at maybe a 4-lap race then?
That's what I'm thinking right now. If we base that on about 2 hours, that should put us right in the 4-lap range, and probably about an hour and 50 or so minute, hour and 53-minute race, but depending on what the length of the next laps are. But yeah, that'll put it right there. And this right here, I think, will give riders a good chance to gauge the day, know when they're going to want to do their fuel stops and everything. And, you know, oftentimes it seems like these ATV riders on days like today doesn't even need to stop for fuel, but, you know, they have to just to make sure that there's no problems. And it's kind of part of the rules and so forth. But it's pretty neat in reality how far these guys can go. And then with that being said, in these kind of conditions, how much pitting strategy becomes a player in today's race, where some riders might hold off to the final lap trying to either make ground on a rider that's ahead or maybe stretch out a lead over a rider that's behind them.
You know, right now in the pit strategy, you know, when I did it, I always like to pit with a pack. If you're with a pack of guys and they stop, I always wanted to stop, because if you didn't stop, then you're on your own and you're coming up on lappers and they don't really hear you. When you're with a pack of guys, it's easier to get lappers out of your way, and it's easier to stay with that pack. But if you're by yourself, the pack usually runs you down, and then you have to pit, and you lose sight of those guys.
Yeah, and I can imagine not being able to see them. Number one, you know, you would start to second guess a lot of things, like you say, and you know, having them behind you, you're thinking, I got to get ahead. I got to take as much advantage of this time, because I'm going to have to pit next time. Yeah. So you need to make up that buffer zone and everything.
And then you try to go around and you hear a bike, you're like, oh my gosh, they're catching me, and it's not even them. It's the guy you just passed. So there's a lot goes on in your head when you're racing out there.
Pretty amazing stuff. Thanks for that insight, Fred Andrews. Almost 28 minutes now into this race, so we should be approaching the conclusion of this first lap. And we also just want to remind folks that coming up today at 4:30, we will be having the UTV side-by-side, or the UTV/side-by-sides. That's what the UTVs, the utility ultra-terrain vehicles. And then we also have the what we call side-by-sides, because we require that 2 people actually race in those. One's a passenger and one the driver, but nonetheless, it's going to be on today. We had our first round from Georgia there a few weeks ago, and now we're back here this afternoon at 4:30 with more UTV live coverage. So be sure and come back and join us for that. As 28 and a half minutes, Fred, I might be way off on this one. We might be in the 30-minute, 31 or so minute mark.
I think the longer race is better for the rider too. As a rider, you don't have to go around the track as many times. It doesn't get as rough. And the longer race is better. It's more fun.
And, you know, it also, a longer race here in the ATV race, the less laps, that's the 9-mile marker. Leader's actually going through right there, Fred.
It looked like Borge.
Yeah, I think so. Borge was there, and there is another yellow machine, and I'm not sure. Can't quite catch the number on that one. I don't know. That might have been another one of the...
Look how cool that elevation changes. You go down there off that nice ridge like that, and you drop down in that little valley. That looks like fun.
Yeah, now talk a little bit about this terrain. There is a lot of elevation change. There's no major drops like 1,000-feet drops or anything, but what we do have is a lot of little short drops and things, right?
Yes, sir. You know, like that right there. Nice little drop down in the gully, and the gully looks like it's about 4-wheeler wide, and you got big sides of the hill, you know, beside you, and it's probably pretty cool down there with this weather.
Well, I guarantee you, those low-lying areas, definitely some of the more beautiful areas of this race course itself. There's Pickens back there. It looks like he's running a solid top 10 right now. I've seen that number 8 miss. So we're at the 9-mile marker right now, Fred. So really, if that's the case,
over 30 minutes.
Yeah, we're at 30 minutes right now at Mark. That's 30 minutes right there in the lap 1. So wow, this could be a little longer than a 2-hour race if it's when it's all said and done. And that's rather, I mean, not necessarily out of the ordinary, but I know that's one thing that normally the ATV riders don't often see a lot of.
Yeah, usually they're right around the 2 hours. They usually don't go very far over.
Oh, okay. 11-mile marker. That makes a little more sense. Okay, so we're not so bad off, but we're still over the 30-minute mark. I mean, that is still a long track, and you got to wonder. I know conditions aren't bad, so just the obstacles could be that, and just the length of the course too. Maybe it's not as fast a race course right now as what we thought it was coming into this one.
Yeah, I think Barry just did an awesome job of laying us out a great track. They've definitely got some fields he's running us in, so he's got some good sections in the woods that are keeping everybody together, and it looks like they're coming towards the finish right now.
Yeah, they are together. Check them out. Freight train rolling right here toward the finish line, and I'm not sure, I didn't catch that. We got the leaders coming through right now, and that is a Yamaha mounted ride. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I'm going to say that's Walker Fowler. Would be cool if it was Johnny Gallagher, but we'll see as they check in. Walker Fowler followed by Chris Borge. Jared McClure, Sneaky Snake, is right there in the number 3 spot now. Adam McGill checks in the number 4 spot aboard the 521. Brian Wolf, who was late to sign up, late to the starting line, rounds out your top 5. And Jen Kenyon is standing down there with us. A quick update on what's going on.
All right, guys, what you're seeing here is Chris Bithell. He had an early start penalty on the starting line here. So on the first lap, what GNCC does, they stop the rider, they hold him for 30 seconds here, and after those 30 seconds, he's allowed to go, and the penalty is done and over with. Now, we understand that Chris actually shut his bike off before he took off, but the penalty still applies here today.
Wow, thanks a lot, Jen. You can tell he's not a bit happy about it. He is very frustrated about this right now, and it's just like the longest 30 seconds I've ever seen. And wow, he's not liking this at all. Not one bit. And there goes Chris Bithell. Fred, you can tell when we've seen riders before do that, they have literally just basically accepted the penalty and said, yeah, I did that. Chris Bithell there didn't seem to be agreeing with what was being penalized there for whatever reason. I don't know if he was frustrated with himself or frustrated with officials. I don't know what was going on there, but he didn't seem happy.
Yeah, I think he was more frustrated in the situation. We're all hyped up at the line. We all want to get going, and he, may have jumped the gun a little bit, and he's mad at himself for letting it happen, and he just wants to get back out there and, and catch up. And that may be the extra fire Chris needs today. We've seen it happened before where a guy gets held for a penalty and that lights a fire that he didn't have, and they come right to the front.
That's very true. Walker Fowler, Chris Borst, Jared McClure, Adam McGill, Brian Wolf, your top 5. Bithell was running in the number 6 spot. He's dropped several back. I'm not sure exactly how many spots he lost. We'll try to get an update on that. But Josh Merritt was behind him, so he moves up. Bryson Neal moving up. Braden Henthorne moving up. And now Jeff Pickens, I would imagine, rounds out your top 10. Brent Sturdivant, I think, might have been coming in around that time as well, so he might be 11. So we might see Bithell back as far as 12th place right now, and you can tell very frustrated still.
Another thing nice about these long laps, the riders will be more stretched out, and you won't be catching lappers, so that could help Bithell get back to the front.
And that's going to be a big saving grace for a lot of these riders also with the dry conditions. If it does start to get dusty, it's not as thick, as riders will be more spaced apart, so it doesn't have a chance to thicken up, and it settles down a lot quicker for the riders coming in behind him, I believe. 33 minutes, 1 lap down into this one, and we've got XC2 riders due in here in just a couple of moments. We talk about this quite often. We even seen Walker Fowler here in years past as an XC2 Pro-Am leading the overall. We've seen Cole Richardson this year, his teammate on that Fab and Pro Yamaha, that he's been inside the reaches of the overall from the XC2 Pro-Am class. So with those guys approaching, I got to wonder what that is going to be looking like. And there, we got a different leader coming through the XC2 Pro-Am. It is not Cole Richardson. It is James Green, the 25 machine. And James Green hails out of St. Mary's, West Virginia. That's a newbie for me. You got Marshall Goings. here on the number 2 spot, the 997 out of Petersburg, Indiana, Fred Marley. He is your 3rd place position. Randy Hamilton in 4th place aboard the 21. We got Martin Christopherson in 5th. Brody Livingood is 6th aboard the number 29. He's out of Yellow Spring, West Virginia. We got Fayetteville, PA rider Tommy Kuntz Jr., the 47, who was on the podium in Florida. He's running in 7th place right now. And Jen Kenyon back in the race day studio here at RacerTV.com. Jen, we were watching, and I'm sure you could probably hear and probably got a pretty good idea what was going on. Chris Bithell did not look a bit happy about that penalty over there.
No, he didn't. And it looks like he did try to take off, and the GNCC officials kind of grabbed onto him and said, they were exchanging words while it was happening, and then they started their time clock. And I guess the issue Chris Bithell had is that he started his bike and then he shut it off before he actually took off. But of course, we all know that the rule book has, the rule states that you can't do that, and that's the penalty. So, I think his pit crew was a little upset about that. But, I think that them doing that on the first lap, the penalty's over the 30 seconds.
Yeah.
We've seen guys like Kevin Yoho come back and actually, ride harder after they got that, make that time up and more. So I don't think that's going to be the end of the day for Chris Bithell.
Unless he lets it. I mean, that's it could be a mental thing for Chris. Chris came into this race. He was very high mentally spirited today. I mean, he was running 6th, probably not where he wanted to be in the first place, and then to have that happen, I'm sure it was frustrating. Now, I don't know. I mean, was there an extra penalty imposed there? Because I know, like Chris sitting there, that 30 seconds seemed like the longest 30 seconds of my life right there.
I don't have any insight on that. I don't believe there was any extra time, but I think what made it seem longer, and he kind of did this, was when he tried to go. And that caused probably another 10 seconds there, and they had to wait until he was actually stand still before they would start that time clock.
That makes perfect sense, and that's why the 30 seconds seemed to be a little longer. They had to get him stopped. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Well, Jen, thanks a lot. Hopefully things will settle down for Chris Bithell, and we'll see him back up in the action, and we'll find out more what's going on in the pits from Jen Kenyon coming up here in a little bit. Wow, Fred. That's one of those things, man. I mean, he's coming in. He's already amped up anyway, trying to get him to slow down and stop, and he don't want to do that. So it's taking longer and longer and longer. So hopefully he can regather himself. And I'm sure the pit crew is going to be giving him those pit boards that says, just calm down,
Yeah, I think Jen was right. It's better to do it at the beginning of the race because now he knows it's done and over with. Press forward. When you got a penalty coming at the end, it works against you. That's all you're thinking about is, I got a penalty. So that's the best way to do it right at the beginning. And the best thing is, it's in the rule book and it's fair. We do it for everybody, no matter who you are or what class you're in. It's always the same.
It is. You're absolutely right. It is a protocol that is followed here in GNCC Racing as we check in with the rest of our XC2 Pro-Am. We are right now 37 minutes and a half into this race. James Green, Marshall Goings, Fred Marley, Randy Hamilton, and Martin Christopherson check in the top 5. Brody Livingood in 6th. In 7th is Tommy Kuntz Jr. 8th spot, Steve Michael Cunningham. Ryan Johnson in 9th, and Blake Kramer rounds out your top 10. The big question is right here, Fred Andrews, what happened to Cole Richardson, the XC2 Pro-Am class leader and 4th place overall rider? I mean, we were expecting to see him not only come through in the number 1 spot, but we were expecting and anticipating seeing that rider possibly in a solid top 10, maybe a top 5, or even battling for an overall spot in time adjustment.
Yeah, it's no telling where he's at right now. Has he even come through?
No, he hasn't come through anywhere. We've got the top 12. Maybe we can get Jen Kenyon out there on that and find out what's going on. Check this guy right here. That's GNCC racing fans right there, man. They get the best seat in the house. There's no doubt about it. Here's one of those hill climbs, Fred, and I think this might be the spectator point right here. We might get a chance to see. Here comes our leaders now, Walker Fowler, Chris Borich, running basically nose to tail right there.
Going through one of them cricks like we talked about, and actually this hill does look steep from the camera angle they got. They have good angle.
Wow, look at that. So he gets some air coming up. That Walker Fowler's got some good momentum coming up that hill. It looked like an alternative line right there for Chris Borich. But remember what we were saying, if it looks big on TV, it is a monster hill. And look how much these guys are struggling getting up it. It is a big hill out here at the FMF PowerPoint.
Yeah, I think Chris Borich took a different line just in case Walker Fowler did have a little trouble on that hill because it looks like the center's got a little kicker in it.
Yeah.
And if Walker would have had trouble and didn't make it, well, Chris wasn't right behind him, so he took the other line, so he could have went around him.
It looked like Walker was getting ready to do some kind of freestyle action up that, man.
We got a little tree work going on there.
What's he doing? Clearing limbs so he can see better up there, I think.
Yep, down it comes.
Giving somebody some traction down there, I guess. But wow, here comes another. Is that Bithell already?
Yeah, that's Bithell.
Already up is that third or fourth place? That might be third place. So man, so far back 30 seconds, and already look how much time that rider's made up. So that actually fired him up. That might have been the best thing to happen to him, Fred Andrews.
Yeah, we're going to wait and find out for sure. I'm sure he's still running on that. He's got that adrenaline flowing and being mad about getting that penalty, but it'll work out good for him.
All right, riders continuing up this monster hill, this FMF power point. You got to have the power to the ground on this one, man. You got to hook up from a power standpoint, from a traction standpoint, and your tires and everything, man. I mean, this is a definite struggle for these riders. Barry Hawk was talking about it. We were talking about the creek jumps and the creek crossings and stuff like that. Well, this year, Barry says that there is no creek jump in this ATV track, and that's kind of out of the ordinary and kind of different. But I think this right here is probably good or better, man.
Yeah, this is a great spectator spot for sure. Right there, it's neat how they can hit that big bump, and you got a guy pointing a stick to you which way to go, and you jump all the way to the top. And I think the center to the right's a lot quicker than the left side, but not very many people are going that way.
Seen some of the XC2 Pro M riders going through. Green went through, Goings, Marley, Hamilton, Martin Christopherson, Bertie Livergood. Those guys all going through. I think Tommy Coons also. Here's something a point to ponder for you right now. Luke Shepard checks in 13th place. Still no sign of Cole Richardson, and still no idea of what's going on with the NFAB and Pro Yamaha rider. So we are at the 3-mile marker right now. We're watching. He has still not made it to the finish line region yet. So I think it's safe to say that something major and catastrophic has happened to the bike of one Cole Richardson to take him out of this. I don't think it's a mud hole. Barry Hawk says there's not any mud out there, so it's got to be mechanical. He's clipped a tree, something like that anyway.
Yeah, hopefully it's the motorcycle. He maybe clipped a tree and bent something. We're hoping that he's okay himself. And hopefully, Jen can get us some update from this pit crew and find out what happened to him out there.
That or he is not working on a transponder, and I don't think that's the case. But like we say, we'll get Jen out there and start looking on that. Right now we are at 41 minutes and 40 seconds into this, and I think maybe we ought to think about taking a quick break here in just a moment. We are watching footage from out near the 3-mile mark right now. That is the FMF PowerPoint, 3-mile mark of a near 12-mile racetrack that we're looking at right there, Fred Andrews. And I tell you, we've got a lot more to see. We've got a lot of more Grace racing coming up, and we'll be back with more of GNCC Live on RacerTV.com right after this.
Twins have notoriously been very hard on crankshafts because that big long stroke of those 2 cylinders just flexes the crankshaft around. So we were seeing bearing issues. Research development people at AMSOIL could show us that it was likely an oil problem. That was the issue. Instead of having to redesign the engine, I just had to do a better quality oil.
That combines precision-engineered handling, industry-leading power, and a rider-focused design. We call it a Can-Am. From the essentials to fully loaded, you'll find that same combination in every ATV and side-by-side we build. And right now, get your own for as low as $149 a month. Can-Am, the ride says it all.
Find your flow with Maxxis tires.
You've got to see this place to believe it. March 7th through the 16th, it's the Florida RV Open House at Lazy Days, the RV Authority. Shop the world's largest RV dealership. Over 1,000 motorhomes, travel trailers, and fifth wheels. Take advantage of our incredible buying power. Travel trailers from just $119 per month. Class C motorhomes from only $449 per month. And Class A motorhomes as low as $469 per month. Don't miss the Florida RV Open House, March 7th through the 16th at Lazy Days, the RV Authority. Details online at lazydays.com.
And welcome back to GNCC Live on RacerTV.com. No, it's not the Monkeys in the Tree broadcast today. It is GNCC Live as we got the fans literally coming out of the woodworks down here in this wood section, in this FMF uphill section. And there we go. We are now in the midst of our XC2 class. And I believe that was, that looked like rider 13 quite possibly. Actually, maybe it was 17, Fred Marley making his way up. So he was running in the number 3 spot. But one thing to point out, Fred, Bethel back in the number 6 spot. When we saw him come through this section 3 miles after that penalty, he was already up into a solid top 5 position. Pretty amazing stuff. And I think that that, like I said, could be what has definitely fueled the fire for that rider. And as we go, we are now 45.5 minutes into this one. A couple of little notes about the Big Buck GNCC itself. The Big Buck has its own website. Is established in 1997. It's got its own website. You can check it out, bigbuckracing.com. The Big Buck course presents the standard GNCC obstacles with everything from tight woods, which we've talked about, to fields, creek crossing, rocks, and hill climbs, which we've seen there and watching right there at the FMF hill climb. It's a fast, wide open course, and it's definitely not easy. The field sections are fast. They get chopped up and rough as the weekend goes on. And, of course, with this particular facility, it's owned by a great man. You know him on a personal level, Fred Andrews. Henry Turner, I mean, he's known as Mr. Big Buck. I mean, 363 days a year, the 2 days that he doesn't spend here for race days, he's out promoting this in Union County and all in surrounding areas, man. I think it's just awesome what he does here.
Yeah, Henry really gets the community behind everybody here, and then he's got his boy Hank. He comes out here and mows the grass and takes care of the whole place and keeps it looking nice, and this is really, really a nice facility.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, you wonder how the property got its name. The Big Buck got its name when actually it was purchased in 1973. The dad, Henry, himself, and his son, Hank, they spent many memorable fall days here hunting, deer hunting, as a matter of fact. This is what this was the deer hunting farm. First one to come out of the woods usually build a campfire, and the others gathered around later, and they always asked if anyone had seen the Big Buck. And one day in 1981, Henry came home from work, and Hank told him he wanted a racing go-kart, and he was only 10 years old. And then before he knew it, they were at the Speedway Park, and on Saturday nights they were kart racing, and that was from like 1982 to 1990. And then they saw racing all over. And during that time, they witnessed the most explosive in kart racing. And of course, fast forwarding, you know, they already had racing in their blood, so they were really thick into that. In 1996, Hank asked Henry to go with him while he raced in a Mid-East hare scramble, and he didn't even know what a hare scramble was, but when he got there, he saw an opportunity to be a part of a big type of racing, and before he knew it, it outgrew even his involvement. Henry was just amazed at what took place here, and of course, next thing you know, they're doing the Mid-East races, and then the Buren Hamrick, who was a former trail boss and is working here this weekend, as a matter of fact, contacted Henry Turner and said, hey, we want to put a GNCC on there. And that's what they did, man. And I know that in 1997 was the first year here. Big Dave was here in 98. And I remember talking to Big Dave, and this place was like his new gold mine and his new favorite place to come. And I think I can understand why, because Union County is such a great place. I mean, it's not only the grounds itself, but I mean, it's everything about the whole county. I mean, everybody comes out, local dignitaries, the Travel and Tourism Committee, you get the mayor out here, you get the Chamber of Commerce out here. I mean, everybody comes out. I mean, this is kind of like a festival, if you will, by itself at the Big Buck Farm.
Yeah, you know, I think the whole community comes out to thank us for coming here, and you know, we bring a lot of income to the area, and they're just all thankful that we are, and they're all out here to make sure that we are having a good time.
And I tell you, we most certainly are. And I thank Hank for, at 10 years old, becoming a racing enthusiast and then
going GNCC racing in '96, and then a couple years later, a year or so later, they say, hey, man, let's go ahead and join into this GNCC thing. I think it's an awesome thing. There's no doubt about it. And thanks, Henry, again. And, you know, I know somebody that thinks this place is awesome as well. He's scored, like we said, 6 out of the last 7 race wins here. Out of the last 7 years, 6 of those wins have been him. He's the winningest GNCC racer of all time now. It's 69 ATV wins himself. He is the great Chris Borch, and we had a chance to catch up with him before this weekend of racing got underway.
Yeah, we finally got that 69th win there at North Carolina. It was a mud fest, but hey, we got it done. Big relief off of my shoulders. Just to get that all-time record is a huge accomplishment on my part, and just trying to move forward with the racing, just one race at a time. Try to get my 6th championship here, and here we are at Big Buck, South Carolina. Looks like I've won here 5 out of the 6 races. 5 out of 6 years, and looking forward to it again.
All right, man. Chris Borch, really looking forward to good things. Did you see the action in the pits? That was Cole Richards.
Yes, it sure was. Cole looks like he had trouble with his front end.
Oh, he had trouble with his front end. He's having trouble keeping his front end down as the human chains are coming out on the hill climbs there. This is starting to indicate that the hill's actually getting rougher and tougher as the race wears on, and Fred, that's only good news for us from a spectator standpoint. Bad news for the guys closing in, because number one, they're going to have a couple of different things they're going to have to be looking at. Obviously, ever-changing hillside, never knowing what lines are going to be the best and the smoothest. It is going to be rougher and not the same whenever they came through last time. And there could be lap traffic stuck on that hill because somebody made a mistake maybe just ahead of them. So the leaders could find some problems on this FMF PowerPoint at the 3-mile marker next time around.
Yeah, you notice that one guy was stuck right there, and his tires were spinning, so he's actually digging extra holes in that hill now. So now the hill's even getting rougher and rougher, and I noticed it was South Carolina's own Corey McDonald's dad there with the cowboy hat and that Yamaha shirt. He was pulling people up. He's out there having fun in the woods.
Yeah, and he's a bike guy, man. I mean, there's so many of the bike guys that are out there enjoying these races. I believe that was that the number 4 again that we seen rolling through there? I'm not sure. Or was that Borch rolling through? I'm having a tough time seeing this angle. Okay, that probably was. What mile marker is this again? Okay, with this 7.5, we should be seeing the riders come into the pits here next. They're telling me now, Fred Andrews, and I think it was Chris Bithell a little further back in the pack. But look at that big gap that we got, and look at that big sad face we've got coming off that guy right there, man. I mean, you talk about bursting your bubble, man. I mean, being on an all-time high coming into this, and I'm sure he felt great coming into today's racing, and to have that happen is a tough break.
Yeah, it's a tough break, but, he's got to look back, and he's got to be happy that it's his motorcycle and not him. His
right.
ATV broke. It's not him. He can buy parts for that bike. He is going to be back in 2 weeks, and he will be ready.
So there is one down note about that. The good note is that his teammate, Walker Fowler, is still running the lead at last check, and Fowler is due in about 10 minutes here at the finish line, but we should be seeing them roll through the pits here in just a few moments as Richardson is still bumming out there. He's literally giving up for the day. You said it looked like something maybe happened to the front end. Is that what you were saying they were looking at there, Fred?
Yeah, it looked like when they brought it in on the Can-Am that the front end was loose on it, or they were turning their front wheel. So I don't know if a tie rod or something broke, but it looked like they were messing with the front end of it. And what you can see, it'd be easy to do out there. There's a lot of trees out there, and the sections are tight. And that guy went left, and he was supposed to go straight.
Wow, I wonder what that was all about. Yeah, there's no arrows going there.
He went the wrong way.
Maybe he's got a pit stop over there or something like that.
Or he saw
a hot line.
Yeah, he might have.
Well, somebody's saying at home, I watched you cheat on RacerTV.
Did you get his number?
Not.
Rewind that. Now there you go. You got yourself a little chain gang going right there, helping guys up the hill. And like I said, it's just getting rougher and rougher, them uphills.
Wow. Look at that. 4, 1, 2, 3.
And there he is, Mr. McDonald in the back, pushing on.
There's 6 guys on that quad right now, man. And that ain't even to the top yet. That's only about 2/3 of the way up.
Oh my, man, this is definitely a great shot. And you know, that's the one thing we might note. The tough part of this hill is that first half or first 2/3 or so, and then they'll kind of level out, but they're getting stuck right up there at the top, and then they still got more hill to go up. Here comes our leaders through the pits now, I believe, or should be coming through here pretty soon. So 8:20 is when we expect to see the leaders, and if they stay on par and on pace, 31:08 lap time last time around, almost 31:09.
Yeah, I was thinking that bike had green backgrounds on it.
It might be on a lapped rider. I don't think we've seen our leaders come through yet. I haven't seen the excitement and the action in the pits just yet. Now, I would have to think that we're probably going to see a pit stop this time around as we approach the Mid-State Chevy Midway report here at GNCC. And we'll take a look at all of our classes coming up once we get through 2 laps of racing here in just a few moments. But right now, we're waiting in the pits to see, are they going to pit? Who's going to pit? What are they going to do when they do pit? I don't think goggles is going to be much of a problem there. I mean, it could be. There might be a few goggle changes.
Yeah, I'd say Walker Fowler's going to pit. You see a picture of his pit crew right there. He's got Mark Notman's got some goggles, and Walker's dad's got the gas can ready. And so it looks like they will be pitting this lap, Rodney.
So patiently waiting. Mark Notman, a former GNCC pro himself. I was kind of shocked and surprised to see him literally step away from the ATV racing. But you know what? I think he's as good. Oh, there we come.
There they come.
Nose to tail. Check it out. The champ and, of course, the number 2 of Fowler and Borich, they both are in. Goggles for both and gas for both. And that's pretty simple. Probably a quick drink as well. I imagine on a day like today, hydration is going to be very important. Fowler gets out just ahead.
Quick.
It was, man. I got to wonder, did Borch literally just wait for him to go on by, or do you think he might have been trying to jump out?
Up, there goes one down the hill, through the FMF banners, and into the tree.
Wow. So, wow, man, Walker Fowler getting a great start here today, and we got more riders checking in. That's Adam McGill, is it not, if I'm not mistaken? No, that's Jared McClure Racing. So McClure in there was running 3rd, so he's still top of the pack. There is Bithell. He's up to 4th. So he didn't get 3rd. He got 4th. That was McClure just ahead of him. So
he's a little hot under the collar. He wants some water on him.
Yeah, you can see he's still fired up about this.
Yeah, he is, and it's pushing him towards the front. So, you know, them boys may be in trouble.
They very well could be. He's coming with a very big fire lit under his tail. And I know coming into this weekend we had a chance to talk with him, and he seemed like he was ready to go this weekend also.
Yeah, last race, North Carolina, was actually a pretty crazy one. I went from way back to way up, ended up running in 3rd place there on the last lap. Towards the end, something started happening, and ended up being, clutch was blowing out on me. I think actually I shattered a plate, which totally lost all the clutch, but I realized something was going wrong, and I tried to limp it through, but I really only got about a mile after I had realized something was wrong. But it was a tough run, and it was a mud race, and anything could happen. But we definitely didn't survive that one. But hopefully, with this round and some good weather and a really good, fun, fast track, it's kind of should be playing in my favor. It's going to be a good race out there. I think we'll be able to put on a good battle.
All right, man, I tell you, a tough break there for Chris Bithell, I guess, at round 3. Well, he opened up with such a strong ride in Florida to kick things off, and we're expecting, and I'm sure he was anticipating big things out of himself. So anytime that he has a lackluster performance, he's going to be a little bit down. But I don't know. I think, Jen Kenyon, I hear you in the background there. Are you ready to give us an update there?
Yeah, Rodney, I'm down here in the VP Racing Fuels Pro Row. It's a little bit hard to hear, but I'm unfortunately joined here by Cole Richardson in plain clothing. Cole, tell us what happened out there.
We got off to a bad start, and me and Marshall both got off to a bad start, and we just kind of started picking people off, and kind of started off as a bad day, and then the bars kicked out, and I smacked a tree and cracked my steering stem in half.
Oh, man, so that's something that obviously you guys can't get fixed to get back out there in a good time, right?
Yeah, I mean, we tried getting it back to the trailer. It's just hard to keep the wheels straight, so we just call it a day, and we'll come back strong next round.
All right, well, that's what we like to hear. We'll see you there definitely round 5. You've had a really good start to the season. It's your rookie year, so that's got to feel good knowing that you can win. You can run up there and when things like this happen, you just got to keep that good attitude and move forward, right?
Yep, we'll just keep pushing forward and go in the next round.
All right, guys, that was Cole Richardson.
Wow, thanks a lot, Jen. Tough break for Cole there, man, but I got to give it to him. A lot of people in his position, especially young and mature, just turned 18 years old this past Wednesday, might have a little different mindset. And here come the leaders, 11-mile marker right now. Nose to tail, nearly wheel to wheel out there. It's Walker Fowler and Chris Borsch on that little downhill section that we noticed there a few moments ago. There is third place ride. I believe that's still JMR rider Jared McClure Racing ride. There in the number 3 position, we should be seeing Chris Bithell check in the number 4 spot with Adam McGill in 5th if things remain the same. But here comes another machine, and that wasn't one of our pro riders. So there's somebody. I think that might have been him. It was a yellow machine, but regardless, here he comes.
There.
Yeah, so he's got some people in between him. I think that's a couple of lap riders. We had McClure in there. We've seen the top 3 go through, and then a couple of lap traffic riders. So there are some people in between them. It's not becoming an issue, I don't think, for these riders just yet, but it's kind of surprising with this track as long as it is. There's Johnny Gallagher, the number 7. By the way, Johnny Gallagher, I got to take my hats off of that rider. He's back in 15th place in the XC1 Pro Class, and I am kind of surprised about that. Johnny, in his, I think he's 36 years old or 38, something like that. The one thing to point out, Johnny, he celebrates his 20th year as an XC1 Pro this year. He's raced in 3 different decades, and he is for sure a true GNCC icon, I think, and he is what makes up GNCC, man. I mean, he is the true nature of it. He was born into it, and I believe he's going to he'll be 70, 80 years old.
It's a family thing, I think.
Is.
It's
his
a
dad,
GNCC family. His dad was involved in it really heavy, and he got involved in it, and you get friends here, and you're excited to come to the races and see all your friends, and it's addicting. It's like a drug.
It is, most definitely that. We are an hour and 1 minute into this race. Believe it or not, Fred, and we have yet to see 2 laps complete. We are still about 1 minute and 14 seconds out. So, in theory, we're going to be a little over 2 hours if these riders stay at this pace right here. And leaders coming into the finish line chicanes right now, and it appears to be that Fowler, I believe, is still out front on that Infab Ampro Yamaha with the Maxxis-backed ride of Chris Borch and your 69-win rider. Man, that's amazing just to know. And you know that Walker Fowler's thinking about that back there, man. He's won it 69 times before. I'm sure he's got something up his sleeve. He's got something up his sleeve, but I'm sure that Walker at the same time is thinking, maybe I can stop him this time. And he has a few times, and he has this season already too.
Yeah, you wonder, is Chris just playing with him, or, is he just following Walker to see where he's going and wants to make his last lap pass on him, or, it's a questionable what they're doing out there. I think Walker's giving it his all. Walker may be holding back a little bit too, knowing that, Chris likes to follow him, so maybe he's just saving some lines out there and just doing his best to stay in the lead until the end.
Almost an hour and 30 minutes now into this race. The leaders checked in 30 minutes, 46 seconds. 1 hour, 1 minute, 55 seconds into the elapsed time. 1 second is what it says separated the first and second place positions. Adam McGill up to the number 3 spot. He's gotten around McClure. I don't know if that happened in the pits or not, but he's 7 seconds behind the second place ride. And look at this, McClure now 27 seconds. Something big time happening between the pits and the finish line out there that caused McClure to lose a lot of time. And back there now in the number 5 spot. And I guess maybe we might have been counting. I've been missing McGill. Maybe he might be wearing something different than what I was expecting, what I've seen him in the past. That might not have been a lap rider I was looking at there a moment ago. Might have been McGill and McClure just looking a little different. So Bithell back in the number 5 spot. Brian Wolf has checked in 6th place now. Wolf out of Medina, Ohio, 7.3 seconds back of Bithell. And we're waiting next on the wave of rookies. We've got 3 rookies that were running 7, 8, and 9 last year, or last lap, I should say. Last year we talk about the
some of these riders like Jay Shadron skipping the XC2 Pro-Am, but him and Merritt and Neil have all joined the XC1 Pro ranks together, and they're riding together today. And, of course, we'll find out how things are faring for them when GNCC Live continues here on RacerTV.com.
Twins have notoriously been very hard on crankshafts because that big, long stroke of those 2 cylinders just flexes the crankshaft around. So we were seeing bearing issues. Research development people at AMSOIL could show us that it was likely an oil problem. And they were correct. That was the issue. Instead of having to redesign the engine, I just had to do a better quality oil.
Sometimes you come across the MC website has everything you need. From UTV accessories and OEM parts to our online. Our extensive inventory means most orders arrive in 3 days or less.
Find your flow with Maxxis tires.
Evans waterless coolant solves your overheating problems. The high boiling point of 375 degrees and low vapor pressure means the coolant stays in the engine and cooling your machine. Randy Hawkins and the Am-Pro Yamaha team has been using it for 5 years. In fact, you'll find Evans in the radiators of most top GNCC machines. Go to evanscooling.com for more or visit their Facebook page for the latest updates.
And welcome back to GNCC Live from Union, South Carolina, where we had a chance to stop downtown and visit a very historical area. Very beautiful place, as a matter of fact. Nearly everywhere you turn, so much beauty, so much pristine, and so much old world type stuff, man. I mean, you really feel like you're in the Old South when you're here, Fred. It is such a nice little community. There's no doubt about it. Back here at the racetrack, you know, Fred, it's just as beautiful out here in the woods as it is in town. I'm amazed at the nostalgia that they carry through with the Union County area, you know, and I love what they do in the Deep South here, I guess we could say. Maybe that's part of the lure and the attraction of this big buck itself.
Southern hospitality. They got a lot of it down here. And it's, yeah, you're right. It's nice people, nice place, and it's just a great place to be right now. The sun's out. It's just, we've had so much rain. I'm just so happy to see the sun out.
I know what you mean. And XC2, we got, real quick, XC1 Pro, we got our friends at Walker Fowler. And also Chris Borch, Adam McGill, Jared McClure, and Chris Bithell, your top 5. Brian Wolf in 6th, Jay Shadron in 7th, Braden Henthorne in 8th, Josh Merritt in 9th, and Bryson Neal rounding out the top 10. In the Pro-Am class, we got Marshall Goings now, your new leader in that. And, of course, with that being said, we got a new leader in the XC2 Pro-Am class, and we talk about all these great folks in Union County. Well, we're going to be meeting with one of these guys here in just a second. But I tell you something else, we also have a great thing going on in the early part of the day. We keep talking about this so often, and, you know, we plant the seeds of GNCC racing with our youth riders, and we begin growing our champions up tomorrow. Today, and earlier today, we had a chance to catch another spectacular GNCC ATV youth race, which once again featured the world's top youth ATV riders. Well, down here with our youth overall winner for our ATV race here at the Big Buck GNCC, and he makes it 4 in a row. Brandon Frazier, man, and you did it in style today, brother. You started out with a hole shot. Tell me about that race.
Yeah, started off with a hole shot. Great start. First and second laps were pretty good. And then coming into the third lap, I had a flat tire. And then the last lap, my throttle stuck wide open. So, yeah.
Stuck wide open?
Yep.
How did you control it?
Just put my head down and kept charging.
There you go, man. I guess you ride wide open all the time anyway, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
I think the first 4 rounds are a pretty good indication of that. 4 wins so far as we go through 4 rounds. I mean, did you ever expect the season to open up that well for you?
This break that we had after last year, I trained. I really expected this.
Wow, that's pretty good. So you put your head down. You knew what you had to do in the offseason. You're coming out and making it happen, dude. Well, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Wow, man, that kid's unbelievable. On fire, and we're at the hill section, the FMF PowerPoint. We got the 3-mile marker out there, and, of course, we've seen Fowler and Borge making their way through. I'm not sure if we just saw – that might have been Adam McGill making his way up there just a moment ago, Fred.
Yeah, I believe it was.
Yeah, that means that McClure and Bithell should be coming pretty soon. And not far from that.
Here comes Bithell.
Yeah. Well, has he gotten around McClure, maybe?
Yeah, because, I think they were only like 20 seconds apart, so he either gotten by him or we missed McClure.
That's a possibility, yeah. I know. Let's see, looking at the gap, it was 27 seconds between McClure and McGill and only 5 seconds between. There's McClure right there making his way up now, so McClure is
dropped back to the 5th position.
Yep, got back to the number 5 ride. And as we continue to watch this section of the lap, we are at the halfway point. We're going to take a look at our Mid-State Chevy Midway report here in just a moment. But right now, I want to meet and introduce to you Mr. Tommy Sinclair. He is the Union County Supervisor. And Tommy, I think, can probably attest to what we have to say about Mr. Henry Turner and his love.
Yes, absolutely. Union County is a small town that thinks big. We don't even know we're small. Henry Turner and Big Bucks makes us believe that. Absolutely. Last year I thought this could be no better.
That is
the
awesome.
The weather's better. The crowd's better. And I'm going to taste the food in a minute, and I believe it'll be better, too.
I'd say you're probably right, Tommy. Now, Tommy Sinclair, Union County Supervisor, what is it you supervise here?
Well, it's the county government, public safety, public health, roads, potholes. Well, I'm glad I don't have to do these potholes. But, yeah, and we welcome you. We welcome this entire Big Bucks concept in Union, because we believe there's a lot of things that happen in Union. And tourism, we're going after some more events. I hope to see you. I saw you last year, and I hope to see you not just next year, but before next year at some other events.
Like I said, this is one of my favorite places that we come, and I can imagine seeing myself coming back, man. That's for sure. I know you guys had a big circus last night over at the fairgrounds.
We got a big Easter egg hunt now. Little League ball open today. I think I remember this fellow from last year. Wasn't he a national, international motocross guy?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I'm a retired Army fella. This stuff scares me. I've been on a lot of tracks. I don't know if I do this much.
I tell you what, Tommy, the good thing about it is we don't have to do it. We can watch these guys do it, and we can be pumped up about it. Now, that guy, former champion, he used to do it all the time. I myself, I just talk about it, but I'm with you, man. I think it's an awesome thing. But, Tommy, I think you guys got a great thing going on here in Union County. I wish the Little League Baseball good luck and everything that you guys got coming up, and we hope to, like you say, just hope to get a chance to visit you guys more in the future.
Again, appreciate it. Appreciate the time to call.
I want to go on the Easter egg hunt.
I do too.
Come on. Listen, we could kind of join this thing. This evening we could have better this week.
That's not a bad idea.
Bring that maybe next year.
I'm serious now.
Oh, I am too.
There's plenty of kids here.
I
got you.
We'll do it.
I'll put that down and talk to Herman and Henry. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. See, we're already pre-planning for next year's event. There you go. Thanks a lot, Tommy. And, wow, that's cool. That's great. So Fowler, Borage, McGill, McClure, actually a little change there. We got Bithell around McClure now, and McClure has dropped off to the number 5 position. We got Brian Wolf in 6th, Jay Sadron in 7th, Braden Henthorne in 8th, Josh Merritt 9th, Bryson Neal in 10th. As far as overall goes, we take a look at that, and actually all of our top 10 RXC1 Pro Class riders, our top amateur rider, non-A non-XC1 or XC2 rider is College A leader, the 348 of Derek Pitzer out of Palmville, Pennsylvania, in the College A 16 to 21-year-old class, as we take a look at our Mid-State Chevy Midway report here. Now, Wes Kinsley is also in contention right now, aboard the number 28. He's 24th place overall. He is your current leader of the Junior A 28 plus class, and if we look at elapsed time right now, those guys are only about 15 seconds apart in time. And as we take a look at the racetrack right now, Fred Andrews, what's going on out there, man? Is that Walker Fowler?
No, I don't think it's Walker Fowler, but I think that mud hole's starting to give him a little bit of trouble down there. Some of them ruts are getting deep, and the water's like hanging up on the bottom of the frame, and had to get the spectators to help him out.
That's Jeff Pickens. That's the number 8. So we saw the Yamaha there. So Barry Hawk said there wasn't going to be.
Time you go through a creek, there's going to be mud. I mean, them four-wheelers bring it up out of the creek onto the bank, and it's that's part of GNCC racing. We like the mud and the water, just not a bunch of it.
There you go, not a bunch of it. And as we continue with the Mid-State Chevy Midway report, a quick rundown of our top 5 of all of our classes in the class-by-class breakdown. We've got Marshall Goings, Martin Christopherson, James Green, in third in the Pro-Am class. Tommy Coons is up to 4th. We may see him on the podium yet. He's only 7 seconds out right now. Rounding out the top 5 right now is Fred Marley out of Osgood, Indiana, only 5 seconds off the pace as well. We see in the College A 16 to 21-year-old class, we do have Derek Pitzer leading that by 21 seconds. He is the current runner in for the top amateur overall. Blake Thomas in second aboard the number 30. We got Bryson Hops, the 223, in third. In fourth, 427, Cameron Bruce. In fifth, Levi Cohen, a former youth national champion out of this GNCC Heartland. And, of course, College A 16 to 21-year-old fifth place rider right now. As we look at the Junior A 22-plus class, we got Wes Kinsley, the 28 out of Morgantown, West Virginia, after 2, leading by 8 seconds over the 41 of Michael McAvoy out of Chester, West Virginia. The 31, Michael Marley out of Osgood, Indiana, runs third. Fourth place, Chuck Norris out of Aiken, South Carolina. And rounding out the top 5, 226, Robbie Picorari. That's your Junior A 22-plus class there. Looking next at the Vet A 28-plus class, Todd Demery, 42 years old, the oldest guy in this class. Everybody else is in their early to mid-30s, and Todd could be running the 40-plus class, the senior class, but he elects to run the Vet A 28-plus class. Demery is leading 49.5 seconds over second place, number 360, Wesley Stone. Third spot, Nick Camilli out of Concord, North Carolina. Fourth place, 417, John Cunningham, and he's out of PA with Matt Pierce out of Corning, Ohio, rounding out the top 5. Actually, Pierce got the whole shot in that class and must have dropped back to 5th, it looks like. Senior 8B class. We got Rusty Repass, Lane Coyle, Wayne Brown, Aaron Delancey, and Leroy Shook in the Senior 8B class. And then we've got the College B 16 to 21-year-old class with Noah Landis, Jeremy Hill, J.D. Brown, Tyler Creel, and Michael Spalding. Junior B class, Justin Paul leading there, about 12 seconds over Brian Tony. Simon Bissell is third, Alan Blabos in fourth, and Brent Ertl in the 5th place position. Vet B, Joe Kraselich is the number 311, leading the Marble Man, I like to call him. Todd Moscala, Mark Batson from that Media All-Stars race team there, making that switch from ATV Motocross to GNCC. Batson running in third. Jeremy Gouchard, the 479 in fourth. And Daniel Webb rounds out your top 5 aboard the number 703 in that Vet 30-plus class. Remember, we were talking about 30-plus classes, and we were talking about 40-plus classes there just a second ago. Class, and guy is, I mean, it used to be a pro rider a few years ago, man, but nothing else. He is what GNCC racing is all about. We actually had a chance to catch up with Todd and get to know him just a little bit better.
Now, guys, we hear about the XC1 and the XC2 pro riders all afternoon long, but you know there are a lot of hardworking amateur riders that are out there right now. So we wanted to take a couple minutes to do an amateur spotlight, and this week it's Mr. Todd Demery. Todd, welcome to RacerTV.com's Amateur Spotlight. You know, we've been seeing you make some waves out there in the overall. You've got a couple top amateur awards. So we'll talk about that here in a minute. But first, tell us a little bit about yourself. Introduce you, your team, and where you come from.
My name's Todd Demery. I'm 42 years old. I'm from Versailles, Indiana. I started sick racing back in 2005 and started Demery Motorsports back in 2008. and we just try to put together a team that just ends up being like a family, and everybody that gets along helps each other out, and we strive to do that every year.
You know, last year I know you guys did it well. You won the Rough and Ready Pit Crew at GNCC. I know that meant a lot. You guys got a lot of nominations from the folks out there who it means a lot to them that you guys work so hard, work together. From what I understand, you're not only family, but you guys just do anything and everything you can to help each other out. So you're winning the class right now, the Vet A 25 or 28 plus. Sorry, we change the age every time. I don't know, maybe we're following someone specific or what the deal is, but it's pretty cool to see. Not calling you old, but you're an older fella out there in the afternoon race, and you're really cranking out those overall position, those overall finishes. So that's got to be pretty fun to know that you can still whoop up on those younger guys a little bit.
It is, and it's all right to call me old. I am old. I mean, I'm 42 years old, and I really love doing it. And I kind of stepped back from training and everything to help the guys out. And Vet 28 plus seemed like a good spot for me. And you know, over the winter time, I started training a lot, trying to get my collarbone and shoulder healed up, and everything just clicked this year. And I've been running great and just having a great time this year.
All right, well, hopefully that stays consistent for you. We'll be cheering you on out there for sure. I know you've got a lot of sponsors that you guys like to thank for just helping you out all season long, so why don't we give those guys a good shout out?
Yeah, I couldn't do anything without sponsors. I mean, Max has stepped up big this year. Hauser's always been a great sponsor for us. High Octanes come on board with us. DP Brakes, just extraordinary guys there. Flex Bars. I mean, there's so many sponsors that just help us out, and the sport wouldn't be the way it is today without these kind of sponsors. They're just above and beyond.
All right, guys. Well, that's Todd Demery. He's our Vet A 28 plus points leader, and we'll check in and see how he's doing out there.
Well, he's doing quite well, Jen, actually. And so is his rider, Marshall Goings, actually leading the XC2 Pro-Am. We saw shots of Marshall's bike there in the video there. And we're at the, did you say 7-mile marker? I think. Yeah. Top 4 or 5 guys have already been through, so we're watching right now.
There's one guy didn't make the hill again.
We're going to be watching these guys come through this. In the meantime, we're going to get entertained here, it looks like, Fred Andrews. And see, again, you know, why does it seem so much more difficult to navigate this time around? Because some 200 bikes have been across that thing, a little over 200 bikes or whatever have been across that thing. They have made a mess of it whenever it all comes up with a lot of wheel spin. And when guys
momentum. Guy may have lost his momentum a little bit, and like you said, there goes something else down the hill.
There we got good
that cameraman was scared.
That's our camera guy, by the way. His name's Gloop Mahey, and no, it's not Luke, it's Gloop. The Gloop is what we like to call him, of course, and Andrew Mahey out of Pennsylvania. He's also a producer for our MAV TV episodes of the ATV National Motocross Series that you might want to catch on MAV TV sometime. But right here on GNCC Live, RacerTV.com, we're waiting for more of these riders to check in through here.
You know, Rodney, the lap times are really long here. We're an hour and 21 minutes into it, and they haven't even come by for the white flag yet. So you're right. That's going to be well over 2 hours.
Yeah, 10 minutes still before we'll see that flag come out. And I'm thinking last time around we were 101, almost 102, an hour and 2 minutes or so into this. So I was anticipating a 2 hour and 3 or 4 minute race. So we'll probably be right around that 2 hour, 3 to 5 minute race. And a little long, but that's not very long at all. We do have that leeway there, so that's not too far out of the realm, and it should produce a good race. Though you got to wonder what kind of changes may take place here today with the different conditions. It's hotter today, probably what these guys have practiced in, and even hotter than obviously what they've raced in. We're watching right now the pits of Adam McGill. That is Haley Henthorne. That is
just pick it up.
Yeah, get it moving. You pick it up. She even says it.
You know what? And believe it or not, Rodney, them pit boards do help you. Something like that, it may just give you
what's
that
that one
spark.
say? Give us that one. You can do it. There you go. That's Chris Bithel's pits right there. They believe in him over there. Do you believe in Chris?
And Chris is doing it.
Yeah, he is doing
Chris
it.
has come from back, and he's working his way to the front. You know, that's why we got trees. Good thing for the trees.
They stop those bikes from rolling all the way down to the bottom.
And getting to a spectator. So we'd rather have them land against a tree than our
Yes.
Our nice hill people.
Yes, those hill people are there. They like to help out, and we don't like to have to help them out, that's for sure. But that's the neat thing about GNCC racing. There's not very many sports that you can see that gets this. I mean, allows the spectator to literally become a part of the race and can sometimes help
make or break your race.
Exactly, change the outcome of a race. If they can help somebody get unstuck or whatever the case may be, and in some cases, point them in the wrong line and make them get stuck.
Yeah, you kind of got to watch. If a guy's got a couple of beer cans in his hands, you might not want to take his line.
Well, these guys down here on the hill at the Big Buck Hill Climber having a great time today, and again, I like this FMF PowerPoint. And
as you can see there, Ryan, they have another line. They can go around the hill, which is probably longer, but it's safer. So, if you want the sure thing, you can go on around it. If you want to try to make some time, you can come up the big hill.
Exactly, and that's I believe all the obstacles that you get like this that are a little more than the average and more challenging, they'll do that. They'll give you those option lines, and sometimes they pay off to go the long way, sometimes it doesn't. And I've seen it go both ways. Today, though, I think if you've got the momentum, you might as well just go for it and try to get up that hill. It's amazing, though, how tough that last little bit right there really seems to be. It's almost like they come up, it's almost like vertical nearly at the very top of that hill, and then it starts to level back out. But again, it looks like it's leveling out to us. That's just where it's not so bad. It's still going uphill from that section. Remember what we said earlier? Doesn't look that bad on TV, and when it looks this bad, it's got to be really, really steep.
Yeah, Ronnie, you can see they hit the little bit of bumps in, they're losing a little bit of momentum, and then they get on the gas again, and that's where it is steep, and you can see all that wheel spin that they're getting.
An hour and 25 minutes and 30 seconds into this race now, and wow, what a day. Walker Fowler leading the XC1 class. We got Marshall Goings back there in the number 2 spot. In the number 1 spot of the XC2 Pro-Am class. And, we got Hardee's in the house. Come on over here, folks. And, that's one thing that I want to point out. While we watch these guys try to get up the hill, they're trying to get all fueled up and everything. Look at this. They brought all the fixings, too. Our friends from Hardee's local restaurant. This is how, we got Brewster's Ice Cream here, and we've got Hardee's here with us. You guys want to come on in, and we'll talk to you for just a second, but I think it's pretty neat. They bring out and cook right here, and what you can get pretty much there's the leaders going through the pits, nose to tail once again. If you missed that one, going through the pits, but man, this lap has not waned any in intensity to get this thing.
No, we're definitely not lacking excitement, Rodney. These guys are nose to tail. You never know who's going to come around, and they're going at it. So
What's your name?
We're on the edge of our seats right now, just waiting every time we get to see them on the camera, who's what.
All right, we're here with Francis from Hardee's, and I didn't cut my mic off there. I was pushing the wrong button. But Francis from Hardee's local, what's your last name?
Francis Burgess.
Francis, now welcome to the GNCC, the Big Buck GNCC, and I know that Hardee's has been a big part of this the last few years, and we want to thank you for that. And obviously, that must mean that this must be something big happening here in Union County if you guys are out.
Oh, yes, it has, and we're so excited to be here. This is, I think, it's our 6th year, and we just love feeding these guys. I mean, they're big, hungry guys, and we love feeding them. Have thick burgers and grilled chicken, hot dogs. So
you cook that stuff right here on site, or?
We cook on site, we do.
Wow.
And in the past, we've had a mobile diner that's been very nice for us, and we have a smaller one this year, but still be able to do all that we need to do.
Well, I just want to say thanks to Hardee's locally and on a national level as well for you guys being out here, and hopefully this is something, obviously 6 years that you guys really enjoy, and we hope you continue to enjoy it.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. So a wonderful day there, and you guys here at the pits, definitely stop on up and check the great things going on up at Hardee's. Eat like you mean it at Hardee's. And, of course, as we were talking there just a moment ago, watching these guys go through the pits, Fred, I don't know, there goes the number 10 machine. That's McClure. McClure at last check was running in the number 5 spot. I think that Bithell had gotten around him. So
there's another one stuck on the hill. There's that hill's getting the people just jumping right in there to help pull him up. And
look at that. It's like he's stuck in between 2 trails.
Yeah, he's a little high centered there. And on the 4-wheelers, they got that skid plate down below, and he's just a little high centered. They got him up and going, and there's another one.
Wow.
Sorry.
look at the debris on the hill. We're starting to see the roots come through, and some of those roots have probably taken some abuse over the years. And not only are they there now, they're starting to break away. Now, they were a problem when they broke away, but they can also present a problem by just laying there loosely as well, Fred.
Yeah, right. That's some debris that takes away the wheel spin and it throws the stick back. And like you can see, another guy's getting high centered over there on a rut. He's just staying in his rut. But, there's always people there willing to help you out because he's on the verge right now. If them people don't help him and he starts to go down backwards, he's in big trouble. On a quad, you can't just turn off on the hill and hold the bike there. It's going to want to start to roll.
The human chain, man. This right here, the GNCC hill fleas, mud fleas, we'll call these the hill people.
Down they go.
They throw their mind, body, and soul, man, literally, physically go right in there and throw everything they have. That's what I love so much about it.
And they're just waiting to do it again. They go ahead, they pull, and they fall down, and they may even get run over, and they're ready to go do it again.
I've heard the story where guys have literally laid down and become traction for riders to get through mud holes just so they can say they helped the rider win a race. That's amazing. And
there they are. Neck and neck, nose to tail again.
Man, this is intense right now. Those two, last check around, Fred, they had opened up. They were only 7 seconds ahead of McGill, 7.5 seconds, but I'm wondering, are they opening up that much more of a lead over the rest of the field? McGill was actually faster than him last time around.
I think they've picked the pace up, Rodney. I think now they know it's time to go. That one lap, the white flag's coming out right now, the race is on, and the pace is definitely picking up. As you can see, I think they stretched their lead, and right now Walker's thinking, you know what, I've led this whole thing, I'm not letting you by.
Nope, an hour and 30 minutes into this right now, and Walker Fowler coming into this race was pretty stoked up. I mean, like always, and amped up. There's
Bithell. I actually think he's catching McGill.
He has closed the gap quite a bit on Bithell. It was a 27-second gap between him and McGill, but here's the thing we got to realize. See, the gap was about 7 seconds between McGill, and now it's like 20 seconds between second and third, so maybe it's just the fact that McGill is having some issues there. Who knows what the problem may be, but I do know that Walker Fowler coming into this one, not happy with obviously the way things started out in the season. He's kind of behind the 8 ball after that one round where he suffered the issues, but I think that Walker knows as well as anyone, man, one race at a time, he's going to dig himself out of this hole. We caught up with him before this weekend's race.
After a bad race, I am pretty hard on myself. I just, I just get really down. We work really hard and train even harder. My mechanic puts in a lot of time, and there's just so much time and effort put in that when you do, less than your best, you just really don't feel good about it. But I think it really just motivates me when I go home to work that much harder, and if we have another bad day, it just builds that fire, and here soon it just, you got to unleash at some point, because eventually it does hurt you, but feeling good about it, so hopefully today we'll get after it again.
Enjoying our hearty slick burger here on GNCC Live at RacerTV.com. Rodney Tuttle and Fred Andrews. That was Walker Fowler, who currently leads this race in a high-intensity pace, and there they come into the finish line section now through those AMSOIL chicanes. Man, what a battle. Nose to tail, wheel to wheel. Look at that. Borch is literally showing him those front wheels in and out of some of those turns right now, Fred Andrews.
Yeah, Borch is going outside, inside on him. He's not trying to follow him. He's just trying to wait for a little bit of opening there. If Walker messes up a little and try to sneak by, but Walker's having no part of it. He said, this is mine. I'm going to own this race today.
Well, there they go. They're down right in front of the Race Day Studios right now, past the finish line. Into that woods section, and there, man, look at the dust that's kicking up. We can see it from the trailer right now. So the dust, the field section is starting to become a little bit of an issue as far as dust is concerned, Fred. Vision-wise, I don't know that it's vision hampering so much just yet, but yeah, it's there, and who knows what this last half hour of racing could entail for these riders. An hour and 32 minutes, almost 33 minutes into this, and we expect about 30 more minutes that checker flag to be waving.
Now you can see right there it was Bithell coming in that corner. He came in there a little hot and got her up on 2 wheels. He's trying to make up time on McGill. It'll be interesting to see here when they come through the finish if he actually has made any time on him.
Well, McGill has lost he's now 40 seconds behind Fowler and Borch, which are only about a half second apart, as a matter of fact. Lap times, 30 minutes, 24 seconds for both Fowler and Borch, 30 minutes, 56 seconds for McGill. And Chris Bithell is running fast enough and close enough right now, it looks like, to possibly reel in McGill for a podium position finish right now, as he's only about 12 seconds back. He turned a 30.35, which was actually 21 seconds faster than McGill's lap time. So something happened to Adam McGill right there. And as we roll into this final lap and through this final lap of racing, Fred Andrews, want to let folks know they have an opportunity to win $250 in AMSOIL products. Winners will be chosen randomly, but what we want you to do is send your podium predictions of the finish of today's race and hashtag GNCC Live. When you do that, when you tweet your podium finishes and hashtag GNCC Live, we'll be able to get them over here at GNCC Live, and we'll pick one of those guys, and we'll send them $250 in great AMSOIL product. It could be you, my friends. Tweet it out, GNCC Live, and we'll be back with more of GNCC Live here at RacerTV.com right after this.
Twins are notoriously been very hard on crankshafts because that big long stroke of those two cylinders just flexes the crankshaft around. So we were seeing bearing issues. Research development people at AMSOIL could show us that it was likely an oil problem. Was the issue. Instead of having to redesign the engine, I just had to do a better quality oil.
What do you call a machine that combines precision-engineered handling, industry-leading power, and a rider-focused design? We call it a Can-Am. From the essentials to fully loaded, you'll find that same combination in every ATV and side-by-side we build. And right now, get your own for as low as $149 a month. Can-Am, the ride says it all.
Find your flow with Maxxis tires.
Evans waterless coolant solves your overheating problems. The high boiling point of 375 degrees and low vapor pressure means the coolant stays in the engine and cooling your machine. Randy Hawkins and the AmPro Yamaha team has been using it for 5 years. In fact, you'll find Evans in the radiators of most top GNCC machines. Go to evanscooling.com for more or visit their Facebook page for the latest updates.
And welcome back to GNCC Live, where, of course, we've got great things going on here at the AMSOIL GNCC Series, first in synthetics. And, you know, now through November 10th, 2014, qualified contestants can enter to win their own 2014 EBR 1190 RX, courtesy of AMSOIL. The official drawing will take place December 1st, 2014, and people can register to win the EBR 1190 RX at AMSOILRacing.com/building-legends on the AMSOIL website, also Facebook page, or on site right here at the GNCC. AMSOIL, first in synthetics. And, of course, right now, Fred, we are looking at, an exciting finish. We saw him coming through the finish line there just a few moments ago as we rolled into this final lap of racing, the white flag lap. This is probably one of the most intense moments of the race, and probably more so today for Walker Fowler than it has been all year. Even though Walker has a win under his belt, we remember he got that a couple of rounds ago. He got that when he took off and literally walked the dog and left the rest of the field. Borch had no way to see him, to catch him, or whatever the case may be, and Borch just settled in for that second place position. But today, Borch has got him in sight. Borch has got him right there. They're hooked up together, and this is where the mind games start to play for Walker Fowler. Remember, we talk about that patented last lap pass that Chris Borch always seems to pull out of his sleeve from someplace, and you know that's in the back of the mind of Walker Fowler. No matter how confident that rider is, whenever you get in this situation with Chris Borch, you feel like your back's against the wall.
Yeah, I think, you know, Walker's been thinking about the whole time out there. He says, I've led you the whole race. You haven't got by me. I'm not going to let you by now. I think this would be a big boost for Walker Fowler. If he can hold him off for this lap and win this race today, that'll put a big thing in his head.
It will, and you know, it could be a big pendulum swing. You know, Chris Borch already with 69 wins. He's got the pendulum swinging in his way. There's no doubt about that. I mean,
everybody's always looking for him to pass him on the last lap. If you can stop that, like you said, the pendulum will stop right there, and Walker can get that extra confidence he needs.
Yeah, and that could be a whole new face to GNCC racing here in 2014. You know, and of course we're seeing a lot of changes and stuff take place in the mornings. And you know what's cool? We see the XC1 Pro Class racing right now. I enjoy all the great things that GNCC has to offer. We had youth racing this morning. We had 4x4 and women and amateur racing this morning. And then we had the afternoon race with the pros and the ATVs. There's the lead.
Looks like Walker's all by himself.
Oh, here we go. This might be the opportunity that we're looking at. We got an update coming in. Hang on. Stand by on that update. I'm going to try to get to that real quick.
Looks like Chris here.
All right, go ahead, update.
Yeah.
10-4, that's Big John right there. Big John Knox, GNCC racing official that is here with it.
Wow, we got a nice battle.
It is. Big John. Looks like a big crowd down there, man. It's a good hill climb. This thing getting better and better all the time, huh? You know, that's exactly what I was thinking. It's looking a lot like Iron Man down there. There's Big John right there, baby. You're doing a good job, man. Thanks a lot. We got Big John on TV. We got all the updates coming in. And, you know, that's what I was thinking. I didn't want to bring it up because I didn't want to get myself to start saying Iron Man Hill and stuff. But now that he brings it up, man, in this RacerX last lap, I think it does. It does. It looks a lot like what we see at the very final round. So
sure does.
I imagine it probably don't ride like that, though. They're all different, aren't they?
Yeah, every hill's different. I mean, they're all steep like that. And, you know, it's good for spectators to have a spot where they can go see some action like that. And, man, I think Walker's put it to Borch right now.
John,
you know, he must have had a mistake somewhere because, you know, Chris, that's uncharacteristic for Chris to have a problem in the last lap. Usually it's him making things happen.
Exactly. You know, it might have been that situation where, you know, he might have had something up his sleeve, and whatever it was he thought was going to work backfired. Exactly. And, you know, here's an interesting point to ponder. This is still early in this lap, so I know Chris normally has more than one place on the track to do that. So that might have been try number one.
Yeah. You know, like I say, Chris is a true champion. He's going to dig deep, and he's going to do what it takes to get back up in the front to try it again.
Well, we saw Chris Bithell make up all that ground, so who's to say? And we know that Chris Borch, I'm sure, can make up a lot of that ground also, especially this late in the race. Getting in that lap traffic, I think Walker Fowler's momentum could be slowed down just a little bit, and that would, I think, make for an opportunity for Chris Borch to actually make that ground back up that they're looking for. Right now, we are about 20 minutes out from a checker flag and the conclusion of this race. And I'm telling you right now, we are still a long way away from really knowing who's going to take this overall. And we'll find out more about it whenever we continue right here from the Big Buck GNCC on GNCC Live.
Twins have notoriously been very hard on crankshafts because that big long stroke of those two cylinders just flexes the crankshaft around. So we were seeing bearing issues. Research development people at AMSOIL could show us that it was likely an oil problem. That was the issue. Instead of having to redesign the engine, I just had to do a better quality oil.
Sometimes you come across something so different, you just have to stop and check it out. The Rocky Mountain
Find your flow with Maxxis Tires.
You've got to see this place to believe it. March 7th through the 16th, it's the Florida RV Open House at Lazy Days, the RV Authority. Shop the world's largest RV dealership. Over 1,000 motorhomes, travel trailers, and fifth wheels. Take advantage of our incredible buying power. Travel trailers from just $119 per month. Class C motorhomes from only $449 per month. And Class A motorhomes as low as $469 per month. Don't miss the Florida RV Open House, March 7th through the 16th at Lazy Days, the RV Authority. Details online at lazydays.com.
And welcome back to GNCC Live, and we're from Union, South Carolina for the 18th running of this Big Buck GNCC. Hello everyone, Rodney Tomlin along with Fred Andrews, former GNCC champion, motorcycle side of things, and also Jen Kenyon out there with us. Fred Andrews, I know that this is a great place for you, and I think this is going to leave another good lasting memory for you. Not only did you get your last win as a motorcycle pilot, but I think we're going to get one of our best finishes of the GNCC in 2014 for this ATV race today. As we saw that the gap had began to open up a little bit out there at the 3-mile marker, but we also know that it's easy, and we've seen these guys make up 5, 10, 15 seconds in a matter of a mile or so. So this race isn't over, and Walker Fowler does not have anything in the bag yet.
No, for sure, Rodney. It's definitely not over. It takes one slow lapper to get in front of you, to slow your momentum down, to really get in your head or take you off your game, and the other guy can see you. If Borch can get inside of Walker and see him, it just gives you that extra drive to catch back up.
And I know that Fowler is one that, or Borch is one that's got plenty of drive because he don't like to lose. And I'll tell you, if you think, can you believe that Chris Borch can come back and win this, go ahead and tweet it out. We're actually having a podium predictions contest, and if you tweet your podium prediction finishes to and hashtag at GNCC Live, we'll put you in a random drawing where we'll randomly choose the winner and announce that winner here in just a few moments. And they'll get $250 in AMSOIL products, courtesy of our friends at AMSOIL, the first in synthetics. So once again, winners will be chosen randomly, so you don't have to be right. Just tweet them out. You could be a winner.
You know, Rodney, it's GNCC racing. Anything can happen. And one of my races here, I was winning, and I came down to the last lap, and I was a mile from the finish, and there's a bridge out there you have to go across, and I came down to that bridge, and I was winning, and I was already spending my money and hit that bridge and lost the front end, and off the bridge I went and went from first to eighth. So, wow. You know, anything can happen in GNCC racing.
Wow, pretty amazing stuff, no doubt about that. You know, watching this here, and you know, we've seen a lot of mud in the first few rounds, and we've seen a lot of great racing out of the morning class races, the 4x4 races. So, you know, this morning we saw, even though these guys weren't necessarily the high class, we had still great racing. The 4x4s put together a spectacular race, even had one of them on the podium for the overall top 3. But, man, whenever it came to 4x4 pro racing, this is the way it broke down.
Jordan Phillips, you're the first repeat winner here in the 4x4 pro class this year. How does it feel?
Oh, man, this is awesome. That was such a good ride.
Talk about the track a little bit. We have a beautiful day out here, so talk about what's going on out there in the woods.
Oh, yeah, the weather's great. The track was great. It was really fast. Got off to a great start. Maintained the lead for 3 laps, I think, and Kevin caught me there on the last lap and got by. And we battled back and forth probably 3 or 4 times, and I ended up in front and just held my lines all the way to the end and got the win.
It's always good to see a big smile on your face, Jordan. Good job out there.
Thank you. It was awesome.
That's pretty impressive. Them guys can get them big 4x4s around the track, you know, pretty fast. Those are some heavy machines compared to what we got going on right now.
They are, and something else to point about Jordan Phillips there is he's 22 years old. He's the youngest one in there, and years old in this class. He's 22 years old, and he's starting to pick things up, man. So I'm beginning to wonder if this utility class, the 4x4 class, isn't starting to be a young man's class as well. This could get interesting with Phillips ushering in the youth into that class.
Yeah, you know, I would think too in those 4x4s, you know, there's a lot of extra strength in, you know, in the upper.
All right, I believe we got an update coming in.
There goes Borage.
And all right, go ahead, update.
There's Walker.
He's out front now, and he's got about 15 seconds on Walker. I'm not sure what happened, but Borage is in the lead.
Wow, 10-4. What
There you
mile
go.
marker you say you're at, Jeff?
Right before the
10-4. Thanks for that update. And there you go, Fred Andrews. Remember what you just said there just a couple moments ago.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Now Walker Fowler might have the same case scenario, maybe not a bridge, but I'm sure there's something out there that is going to tell the story kind of similar to what yours was. Had this thing won, man, and then I gave it away.
Yes, spending my money before I made it. But no, that's the beauty of our sport. You know, it'd be interesting to see what happened to Walker, and it's, you know, it's still far from over, Rodney.
I think so. And, of course, let's take a look at that Can-Am race recap right now and get you up to speed what's been taking place whenever we started today's race. The Whole Shot Award going to the number 1 of Chris Borch. Chris Borch got off to the early lead. Of course, I saw Walker Fowler right behind him in the number 2 spot. And young Jay Shadron, the rookie, making the transition straight from the College A class. I actually started out in 3rd place, and Shadron rode a couple miles up front with those guys, but eventually it all started to sort out quite a bit, and Walker Fowler was able to get around Chris Borch. Borch was then followed by, at different points, we had Adam McGill, we had Chris Bithell back there, and Jared McClure seemed to be the riders that pretty much held steady throughout the course of the battle. Adam McGill, though, seems to have solidified about the midway point in the 3rd place position. He was riding about 40 seconds back, and we saw things start to tighten up there with Chris Bithell after a first lap penalty was imposed at the end of that first lap. He was held up 30 seconds because he started the engine a little bit early on the starting line, and he was in 6th place. He dropped back a few positions, but within 3 miles had worked his way back up to a top 5 ride. Now in the 4th, challenging McGill for the number 5 position as we roll toward the checkers, and those are due in about 11 minutes or so. Walker Fowler no longer your leader. He's in the number 2 spot. Chris Borch has made it happen, that last lap patented Borich, if you will, the last lap pass, and now Walker Fowler runs 2nd, and we've got the battle shaping up between McGill, Bithell, and quite possibly Jared McClure there for the final 3rd place position. And a catch, good catch, cameraman Gloop, watching Uncle Dave style, recovering back in Florida. Uncle Dave, one of our camera people as well, and I just want to say thanks to him for tweeting and watching. And Uncle Dave, we miss you, man. Hope to get to see you back out here. You and Nick both, man. Looking forward to seeing you guys back in the RacerTV crew folds. And we're over in the DeRisi pits now. I think that might be an amateur rider, but this is one thing neat about this. You know, the pro pits have all of our pro riders, top 10 and top 15 XC1 and XC2 Pro-Am riders on it, but there's also a few team members that get the opportunity to pit in there as well. And that sometimes, if you're wondering, is that a pro rider, is that a pro rider, it might just be a team member, and that could be very well the case. There's not very many of those, but there are a few. A lot of the guys, you have an XC1 and an XC2 guy racing together in there, like, for instance, at the NFAB Ampro Yamaha pits, you've got Walker and Cole. Down in the sick pits, even though Todd isn't a pro rider, you got Marshall Goings and the boys down there all pitting out of that same pit area as well. And then you've got guys like Henthorne and a few of the guys double pitting up there. So I think it's
pretty cozy, but again, if you happen to see someone non-pro rider, it is possible that they are pitting out of that pro pit area. And as we look right now, we are about 9 minutes from a checker flag. Again, last update, Chris Borch was out front, Walker Fowler in second. The battle was still on between McGill and Bithell. McClure not far. Actually, McClure dropped about a minute. Remember, we did lose sight of him. I forgot about that. Now as I look at the gap, that gap actually 1 minute and 4 seconds, and he was up to that number 3 spot there for a good long time. McGill got around him and held on to it, and you just got to wonder what's going on with the Sneaky Snake. If maybe the heat and different things like that are taking its toll. And at this point in the race, in this juncture, I mean, we are past the hour and a half mark. We're approaching an hour and 55 minutes right now. It's warm today, Fred. Is this a time for this heat to maybe start affecting these guys in any way, shape, or form, or do you think that maybe they're prepared for at least 80 degrees and sunshine?
No, I think, Rodney, our top guys, they're in shape. You know, if they race Florida was really physical, and they're all in shape, and they're good. You know, I'm sure they had their drink systems on. They were drinking water all week, and they're well hydrated. So I think, probably for him it was just something on the track. You know, he may have caught something, got stuck somewhere, or had a mechanical failure and got it fixed, or, that's about the only way those guys are going to lose time right now.
Yeah, exactly. They're rolling, steaming through there right now, and we're watching that turn into the pro pits. We will see the leaders checking in. We'll see what that gap is starting to look like between now Chris Borch, your leader, and Walker Fowler in the number 2 position. As we look down the BP Fuels Pro row right now, waiting patiently with bated breath. You can see that you got guys standing by just waiting to see if one of their riders are going to need to check in, if they're going to need a drink of water or maybe an extra splash of gas or something. Pit stop should not be a factor. All the top guys I know for sure have pitted already, so unless there's an issue of some sorts, there won't be any pitting in there in the pro pits, at least the top 5. And what we're going to see is a drag race from one end of that to the other out there. Still rolling through this Racer X last lap.
Oh, there's one all the way at the bottom of the hill.
I like the helmet down there.
Captain America slipping it over and saying, okay, you're ready to go.
881. I'm not sure if I got that guy's number or not. I think that's one of our B-class riders, the 881. And, man, tough break for him, that's for sure. Good thing about it is, like you say, we had those trees down there to protect his machine and everybody else around it.
Yeah, and hopefully, too, he got off of it, and the quad probably went down the hill by itself, and he's probably sliding down the hill right now, jumping back on it and getting ready to go.
All right, we're going to take a look at our Twitter contest winner. And, again, thanks to you that have been participating in our AMSOIL Twitter contest here on GNCC Live. Again, remember, anytime that you're tweeting about GNCC, make sure
I think that was Borch just went by right there.
GNCC Live. So, Chris Borch, you say going by there?
I think that was Chris Borch that just went by.
All righty, so we're going to watch for Walker Fowler to check in now. That rider wasn't riding with near the intensity to be Walker. Is that Borch right there? No, that's Fowler right there.
That's Fowler.
I got a miscommunication in my ears there. So that's Walker Fowler. We're trying to chase down Chris Borch. We're looking at about 10-second gap right there, I think, Brad. Another almost minute back to the number 3 spot. We'll be back to check in with that and see how things are breaking down as we continue with more of the Big Buck GNCC Live here at RacerTV.com.
Twins have notoriously been very hard on crankshafts because that big long stroke of those 2 cylinders just flexes the crankshaft around. So we were seeing bearing issues. Research. Correct. Having to redesign the engine, I just had to do a better quality oil.
What do you call a machine that combines precision-engineered handling, industry-leading power, and a rider-focused design? We call it a Can-Am. From the essentials to fully loaded, you'll find that same combination in every ATV and side-by-side we build. And right now, get your own for as low as $149 a month. Can-Am, the ride says it all.
Find your flow with Maxxis tires.
Evans waterless coolant solves your overheating problems. The high boiling point of 375 degrees and low vapor pressure means the coolant stays in the engine and cooling your machine. Randy Hawkins of the Ampro Yamaha team has been using it for 5 years. In fact, you'll find Evans in the radiators of most top GNCC machines. Go to evanscooling.com for more or visit their Facebook page for the latest updates.
Welcome back to Union, South Carolina for the Big Buck GNCC, the 17th or 18th running of this spectacular race, and of course round number 4 of the AMSOIL Grand National Cross Country Championship Series presented by Maxxis and AMA National Championship. And we're witnessing some pretty cool stuff there where we were anyway. They were coming up the hill. There goes Borich down at the 11-mile marker. We're only about 2.5 minutes out from checkers. And looking at this gap now, 2-hour mark, we just hit it right there. The 2-hour mark has come and it has gone. And we are going to be, like we say, probably around 2:03. I think that's what I guessed right off the bat, if memory serves me correct, or someplace close in there anyway.
Looks like Borich has opened up a little bit of a lead over Walker Fowler too, Rodney.
Quite a bit of a lead. That 5-second lead that
maybe Walker had some trouble on that last lap, and something wrong with his bike, and enabled Borich to catch and pass him.
I don't know what happened there. Oh, we got riders still working on the hill there.
Teamwork. There's some teamwork.
They even threw their beer down there.
I'm sure it was empty.
Chuck, we got to help this guy.
Yeah.
Man, nothing greater than GNCC racing fans, because the cool thing about it is that everybody is certainly here for a good time, and the atmosphere is spectacular. You can tell everybody's headed back to the pits, too. That hillside has cleaned out quite a bit. There's not nearly as many people there. They're all heading over to the podium, getting ready to congratulate our winner, who's going to make it 7 out of the last 8 years of wins right here.
And I think Bithell just passed McGill right there, Rodney.
Oh, wow. Win number 70 also for Chris Borich. And, wow, we got big things taking place on this final lap.
It's exciting, no doubt about that.
Yeah, and you always wonder, what is it that takes place? What happens on that last lap? I mean, but like you, I'm sure they were wondering what took place with you. Wiped out on the bridge. What happened to Walker Fowler? And what happened to Chris Borich whenever that gap did open up back there? I mean, there's just so many things that I can't wait to ask and find out more about whenever we hit the podium here in just a few minutes.
It's all about concentration, Rodney. You lose your concentration, you think it's already over, and boom, it hits you. So you always got to be focused the whole time around, and you can't stop until you cross that checkered flag.
So we got Borich, Fowler, McGill, and Bithell coming through. I think we got Jared McClure supposed to be coming through, if not already gone through. That might have been him. Actually, he was about 1 minute and 7 seconds back, 1 minute and 5 seconds back. And here we are at the finish line. I don't know if this is our leader, or is it? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
He's thumbsing it up, man. There comes our leader into the AMSOIL chicanes. And ladies and gentlemen, he does it one more time.
Just
the
keeps
patented,
on adding.
He does. Number 70, the last lap Borich pass as he wheelies across. The big 7-0, win number 70 for Chris Borich. Now just made that record one more step farther away from being able to be achieved by anybody in the history of GNCC, or at least the future of GNCC. Wow, what a day.
I saw him come in with his goggles off, Rodney. I wonder if he took them off or just getting some extra air that last few miles or something to cool off, or...
Oh, I'm sure he probably wanted to look the race fans in the eye whenever he came back.
Maybe he just threw them to the fans. So here you guys go.
That's possible.
Souvenir.
There you go. There you go, man. Chris Borich, a class act. There's no doubt about it. By the way, riding into this, I know we had some questions about top amateur. Just to give you an idea, we have Derek Pitzer still leading the top amateur honors right now. He's 22nd overall from the College A 16 to 24 or 16 to 21 year old class. He has 1 minute and 5 second lead over the second fastest amateur on the track right now. So we should be seeing Pitzer take the overall amateur. Right now, we're waiting on second. And oh no, we got second.
And here's our battle for third and fourth, Rodney.
So
Bithell and McGill.
Fowler in for second. Bithell, McGill battling down to the wire for the number 3 position, and it looks like Bithell is going to pull it out. Wow, was he hot at the end of lap number 1? Was he not fired up? Was he not mad as that killer bee tongue took off in flight, man, with like a man on a mission? It didn't get the win, but he did get the podium, and I got to tell you, that's got to be something some kind of redemption for Chris Bithell, I would think.
Yeah, that's got to be a real big boost to his confidence, knowing he could be that far down and put his head down and work his way all the way up to third place. That's an awesome ride for him today.
Looking at lap times, I'm not sure. I think lap times all remained around that little over a 30-minute mark. But Boric, that last time around, turned a 30:24. I think that we'd seen maybe a 30:17 out of him or 30:14 before, but Walker Fowler dropped to a 31:14. Adam McGill, who we waited on, and Chris Bithell, they turned, a 30:56 and a 30:35 the lap before. A 30:47 for Chris Bithell that time. McGill slowed his pace down to a 31:01. So McGill kept getting slower as the race went on. I'm thinking some kind of mechanical issue. I don't think it's a physical issue. I wouldn't think at all. Still waiting on McClure, who could be as far back as a couple minutes now to round out your top 5. But, man, old Sneaky Snake putting in a solid ride. He's going to lose that second-place position in points to Walker Fowler. But the great thing about it, Fred, is that he finishes strong today, and he keeps himself in the hunt for at least the top 2 right now, and still within striking distance of the championship with only 4 rounds out of the way. And speaking out of the way, win number 69 and now win number 70. He makes that record go one more step higher, and we're talking about none other than the BP Fuels Big Buck GNCC champ, Chris Borch, who's standing by right now with one Jen Kenyon.
That's right, Rodney. And now I know you're not really into records, Chris Borch, but there's got to be some sort of record for you winning 7 Big Buck GNCCs here. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, this track's pretty sweet to me. It's been awesome, and like I said, it fits my style of ride, and it's just real fast and got a good flow, and it definitely got really rough out there and pretty hot too, so it put a toll on us, but yeah, we were running good. Me and Walker seemed like we got out in our own race, and last lap there, I ended up clipping a tree, went cartwheeling, and he gapped me probably a good 30 seconds, and I just knew I had to put the hammer down and catch back up, caught him, and he got bottled up in some lappers and was able to get by, and just tried to check out from there and get this win. But can't thank Maxxis and AMSOIL and just Suzuki and just everybody that's behind me. I greatly appreciate everything you do for me.
All right, well, congratulations again. You made that interview easy. You covered everything all in one. You must be pretty excited.
Yeah, pretty pumped. I mean, it was definitely a hard race out there, and Walker rode well, and happy just to get another win.
All right, well, good job. We're going to make our way over to our second-place finisher here, Walker Fowler. Walker, you led a majority of that race. I know that you must have been having fun out there. Talk about just where Chris got you and how the end of that race shook down for you.
Oh, like you said, led most of the race. And at the beginning of the race, didn't feel comfortable. We got some bike problems we need to take care of, but just shook it off. Chris made a mistake, and I just tried to take advantage of it. Put probably 10 seconds between us, just try to get it so he couldn't see me. I can't buy any luck. Lap riders just aren't helping me this year, and no matter what way I try to go about handling it, I just can't win. So go home, and we're going to bring a different bike out. Like I said, this one's got problems. I don't know. It's upsetting, but hey, you know what? We're still walking, still on 2 feet. A second place is a heck of a lot better than 15th, so I will take this any day. And like I said, I was having so much fun, and then to have so much go wrong so quick is just depressing.
Yeah, but, you got to be excited about those laps that you led. You looked like you were, having fun. We saw the old Walker Fowler back. That was, you had some style going over those bumps. Like, you looked good out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I was just, I kept seeing it was McClure at first, and then McGill was trying to latch on, and it's way harder to be in a race with 3 people than 2. So I just did everything I could, so it was just me and Chris all day. And like I said, I got away for a little bit, and I was just stoked. I felt good, and not today.
All right, well, like you said, a good podium finish here, second place in the points. You leave here happy, healthy, and good to go for round 5.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you.
All right, guys. It wasn't an easy feat here for Mr. Chris Bithell, but Chris, you had a 30-second penalty. We saw you, stop there on RacerTV.com, but you put it all together. You just rode like a madman, and here you are in the 3rd place position. Talk about the day a little bit.
Yeah, it was kind of bullcrap. They stopped me. They got me for starting early, but I hit the button, and then I shut my quad back off before the green flag was flown. I knew that I did it, and I shut it back off quick. I believe somebody blew an air horn or something that just made me jump the gun. But I shut it back off. I never moved an inch, and started about mid-pack, and it was like any other regular hole shot, and then they held me up for 30 seconds, and then an additional 15. I don't really understand why, but I was mad. I worked all the way up to fourth in the beginning, first lap, from a bad start, and then to get held 30 seconds, that's just not right. Whenever I honestly didn't do anything, and you can watch the tape and watch me shut back off. But other than that, it was a good day. I pushed hard. The track was, really, really rough. Paid a big toll on my hands and everything else. But Suzuki was working awesome today. Everything worked flawless. ATV Innovations motor pulled great. Max's tires really was just hooking up awesome. So, other than that penalty, it was a really good day.
Yeah, it was a heck of a ride. I know the fans at home, they were watching you charge your way up there, and it was exciting. I know it's not your favorite way to get here on the podium, but it was an exciting race to watch you ride so well out there.
Well, thank you. It felt good, and I just would have liked to have been up there from the beginning. And it was like I charged first, and then I got held, and then I had to charge again. By the last lap, me and McGill were battling, but it was just digging deep to have anything left to really battle with anybody.
Yeah, but you dug deep here today. Congratulations, third place here today.
Thank you.
All right, guys, I'm going to send it back up to you. I'm not sure what we've got going on with our XT2 Pro-Am guys, but we'll figure it out for you.
All right, they're doing it here in a couple minutes or so. But, Fred, wow, there you go. Chris Borch, Walker Fowler. We got our third place going once again to Chris Bithell. The fourth place position to Adam McGill, and Jared McClure is checked in fifth. Josh Merritt, sixth. The rookie Braden Hinthorn in seventh. Brian Wolf falls back to eighth place. Bryson Neal in ninth, and Landon Wolf rounds out your top 10. Unfortunately for young Jay Shadron, he drops back to the number 11 position. But Borge, Fowler, Bithell, that's the way it finishes out today. And Fred Andrews, what a spectacular day, no doubt.
Awesome day of racing.
Awesome. I was blown away at some of the crazy things and the exciting things that went on. Great camera shots from out there on the hill. And just want to remind folks that RacerTV.com from the VP Fuels Big Buck GNCC continues here in just a few moments as we'll kick back off in about 1 hour, actually, or around 4:30. We're going to be getting underway with the side-by-side racing as the UTVs will take to the track for their second round of the 2014 season. And with the stage set on this one, the young John Yoakley, the nephew of the side-by-side champion William Yoakley, his nephew, who really came on strong at the end of last year, looking strong after that first round of racing, during the first round of racing, and some problems were encountered by that rider the first time out. We're going to see what happens whenever we kick things off here today for round two. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what our coverage at 4:30 with the side-by-sides has, and then also tomorrow we'll be back at it tomorrow with the motorcycles. 3-hour racing extravaganza on that one, Fred, and that's your forte. You'll be out there with KR4 and the Arrive and Ride program and watching things unfold from your team's perspective.
Yeah, the track is in great condition for tomorrow. The quads really made it a little bit rougher, so we're going to find out who's in good shape. And, and KR4, we're doing a little thing for the motorcycles tomorrow. We're actually having a race prep giveaway where you stop by, put your name in our little box, and we're going to pick a winner out, and we're actually going to take your bike home, and we're going to race prep it for you and bring it back to you. How about that?
That's pretty slick, man. I know you guys have got several technicians over there, and KR4 Arrive and Ride program is just a spectacular program. I talk to those guys all the time, and I think we've talked about it in the side-by-side thing, man. I think it's about the best way that I think if you don't have time to travel with your bike, you don't have time to work on your bikes and the ability to get them to and from the racetrack, but you can get to the racetrack and you can go racing. KR4 Arrive and Ride is definitely the way to go, in my opinion. There's no doubt about that, and I we appreciate the GNCC having them as a part of our not only just the nation, but also, they said, hey, let's support the GNCC as well. They're even sponsoring, so I think that's a pretty cool thing, and just glad to have them on board. So, as we said, we've got UTV racing coming up here in about 1 hour. We've got the motorcycles coming up tomorrow. That'll all be getting underway about 1 o'clock. And, of course, Fred, I just want to say thanks for another spectacular day of
Well,
racing.
thanks for having me. You know, it was a lot of fun today. The racing was really close. It was really easy to talk about because, you know, like you and I were both on the edge of our seats waiting to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, exactly. I'm wondering, and now we finally got the answers, and I can't wait to go up and talk to these guys on the podium here in just a few moments. But for those of you watching at home here on GNCC Live, just want to say thanks to you for joining in with us, and join back in with us here in about an hour. Also want to say thanks to everybody that helped make this all go together. So Fred, we got Griff and Jeremy in on the board in the trailer in there, and we've got several guys out there, Price Harden, Luke Mahey, Jared Bolton, and a few other guys that are just working so hard to bring you GNCC Live here at RacerTV.com. And we'll continue to do so in about 1 hour. On behalf of Fred Andrews and Jen Kenyon, I'm Rodney Tomlin. Good day, everybody.
Yeehaw. I love these new